In a chaotic world trampled by monsters, where life and death are separated by a mere hair's breadth, the name Lin Yu is as mediocre and cheap as his own life. Lin Yu's existence is an inescapable loop of humiliation. By day, he is a poor student, a silent shadow hunched in the corner of the classroom. He is the perfect target for the mocking taunts and cruel bullying of the wealthy students. At night, as the city descends into a menacing silence, Lin Yu dons his worn-out protective gear. He takes on a job no one else dares to touch, incinerating corpses at the crematorium on the outskirts of town. In this era, every body could potentially carry a deadly pathogen or mutated energy from a monster. His few coworkers always look at him with eyes full of contempt, as if he were nothing but a vulture feeding on rot. Until one fated night, as the flames in the incinerator flared up, licking at an anonymous corpse just like hundreds of times before, an anomaly occurred. From amidst the flames, a jet-black, icy aura, as if it had come from the abyss, suddenly burst forth. It shot straight into Lin Yu's body like an arrow. The heart-tearing pain caused him to collapse. But immediately after, a cold, mechanical voice echoed in his head, "Host detected. Ability devouring system is now activating. Host can absorb a random skill from every corpse being incinerated." Corpses, once the source of his obsession and a symbol of his poverty, have now become an endless staircase of power. Every monster that falls, every life that fades away, can now become a part of Lin Yu's strength. The journey of the cremation reaper, who rises from the ashes to redefine the boundary between human and monster, officially begins. The setting is the Qing Tang Academy, a place that looks incredibly luxurious and modern. Amidst the bustling schoolyard, our protagonist strides forward with a rather confident expression. But life is not a dream. The scene quickly shifts to a dark corner where a group of people are blocking his path. The leader speaks up with a menacing tone, "You little brat, say that again." Responding to him, the young man grinds his teeth in anger. "Give my sister's medicine back." The boy, named Lin Yu, a third-year student, clenches his fists, his eyes burning with a warning. "Otherwise, I will definitely make you regret this." The ringleader, named Zhang Yang, also a third-year student, bursts into arrogant laughter. "Ha ha ha, a piece of trash with a vitality index of 0.62 dares to say he'll make me regret it." The lackey beside him chimes in as well. "Lin Yu, Brother Zhang's vitality index is 3.5. You're a fool who isn't even as good as a normal person. Stop bragging, ha ha ha." The lackey continues to mock him, poking at his pain. "If it weren't for your naturally gifted sister, how else would you have gotten into this Qing Tang Academy?" Zhang Yang smirks and lifts the bottle of medicine to tease him. "Isn't this what you wanted, this bottle of medicine?" He holds the bottle out, his face full of provocation and malice. "Come and get it." Without a moment's hesitation, Lin Yu lunges forward, reaching out desperately while screaming, "Don't." But it is too late. Zhang Yang's hand relaxes and the glass medicine bottle hits the floor, shattering into 100 pieces as the precious blue liquid splashes everywhere. Lin Yu stands stunned, his eyes wide with horror as he stares at the scene before him. Immediately, Zhang Yang grabs Lin Yu by the collar, growling in mockery while Lin Yu can only let out a pained gasp. He throws Lin Yu backward with force, causing him to crash into a pile of desks and chairs. Zhang Yang steps forward, places his foot on Lin Yu in a humiliating manner and says, "Trash belongs in the trash heap." Suddenly, a voice echoes from afar, "The teacher is coming to class." Zhang Yang is startled and turns back with an annoyed look. "What?" He glances at Lin Yu one last time before walking away with his lackeys, not forgetting to drop one more sarcastic remark. "Trash should just stay with the trash." Lin Yu lies on the floor, painfully looking at the pool of medicine on the ground, his heart full of bitterness. That was the nutritional supplement to maintain his sister's health. He will have to work extra shifts again to earn money to buy a new one. He grinds his teeth, his eyes filled with resentment and determination. "Zhang Yang, Zhao Lei, just you wait, I will definitely make you pay." Just as Lin Yu is sinking into resentment and despair, a gentle hand reaches out in front of him. A beautiful girl with pink hair, introduced as Lin Han, a second-year student, asks Lin Yu with concern, "Are you okay?" He looks up with a bit of surprise. "I'm fine, thank you for helping me out." The girl smiles, "That's good, let's go back." But the gentle moment doesn't last long before cruel reality calls his name through an angry voice from somewhere. "Lin Yu, are you trying to slack off? Why aren't you at work yet?" Lin Yu is startled, hurriedly stands up and runs away, looking back and shouting, "I'm coming right now." The girl named Lin Han can only stand there, looking after his hurried back with a thoughtful expression. To understand why a high school student has to rush to a part-time job, we need to step back a little into the background of this world. Old century year 4832, heaven and earth mutate and pollution descends. Humanity faces the risk of extinction, and bodies begin to break their limits, producing superpowers. These people are called warriors, receiving the highest respect and treatment, shouldering the responsibility of protecting humanity on the front lines. Time officially enters the first year of high martial arts, and humans discover that even death cannot escape the pollution. They turn into mindless corpses, left only with the desire to kill, known as rotten corpses. And until now, the only method known to combat pollution and rotten corpses is cremation. The young man pedals his bike toward a giant, old industrial factory under the sunset. And my part-time job every day after school is to go to the crematorium to burn the corpses transported back from the front lines. He enters inside, rolls up his sleeves to prepare for work. A job that is not for the faint of heart, but is his livelihood. He reaches out to press the button to open the door, heading into the work area. He puts on his protective gear with a tight-fitting oxygen mask. Lin Yu's eyes blaze with the fire of determination. His sister's nutritional chamber renewal fee is coming up soon. He absolutely must earn 200,000 before the end of the month. Stepping into the cold cremation room, he remembers with a heavy heart. She is not like him. Just entering high school, her vitality index already passed the 10,000 mark, and she even possessed the super-rare mental power talent. His footsteps echo in the quiet space, and he continues to think with pain. But on their 17th birthday, she mysteriously fell into a coma. The image of his sister floating in the nutritional chamber appears in his mind, and Lin Yu's gaze sinks. Since then, she has never woken up. Looking at the corpse of a soldier and a mutated beast lying on the table waiting for processing, he clenches his fists and tells himself, he is born useless. Before, it was always his sister protecting him, and now he has the responsibility to take good care of her. Starting his work, he pushes the soldier's corpse into the incinerator, calculating in his head. Cremating one corpse pays 20,000. Today's money will first cover the broken medicine bottle, then he will try to burn 10 more to have enough for the nutritional chamber. The fire flares up, swallowing the unfortunate soldier's corpse on the pyre. The soldier's body writhes in the sea of fire, and jets of black aura churn out amidst eerie screams that seem to echo from the void. He explains further, every corpse brought here carries the seeds of pollution. If a cremator is careless even for a second, they could lose their life or turn into a monster immediately. Adjusting his gas mask, Lin Yu squints at the fire. This is also why this job pays so exorbitantly, yet almost no one dares to throw themselves into it. Suddenly his pupils contract, as if something is wrong. The black pollution aura does not dissipate but begins to spread violently beyond the tempered glass. Lin Yu exclaims in surprise, "What is this situation? This has never happened before." He rips his mask off, his eyes wide with confusion as he looks at the strange aura hovering about. What the hell is that? Black tentacles of dark aura crawl across the ceiling and floor, creating an incredibly eerie scene. Lin Yu retreats, extremely alert as the black aura begins to surround his body. In the blink of an eye, the black aura shoots forward, stabbing straight into the center of his forehead, making Lin Yu cry out in panic. Contrary to his prediction of a painful death, a blue light flares in the center of his forehead. He stands still, feeling his body becoming light. Why is this happening? My whole body feels so comfortable. Lin Yu closes his eyes tight, his mind suddenly drawn into a stream of strange memories intertwined with the silhouettes of soldiers on the fiery battlefield. In the vision, he sees a soldier patting his comrade on the shoulder, joking, "Li Yang, what are you going to do after graduation?" The young man named Li Yang replies brightly, "Do you even have to ask? Definitely joining the army." The memory shifts to the scene of Li Yang standing solemnly and saluting his commander. "Li Yang, congratulations on becoming a member of the Rookie Company, 38th Special Brigade. HX 018611121 is your serial number." Li Yang proudly shouts, "Yes, sir, I absolutely will not disappoint the country and the people." The grueling training scene appears, the training officer standing above and shouting, "Sweat more during training, bleed less in battle. Only by constantly squeezing your vitality can you be trained, and only by breaking the body's limits can you trigger your inner potential." The memory glides past the drops of sweat falling on the training ground. Li Yang throws a powerful punch, his mouth roaring. The scene suddenly becomes bloody. Amidst the chaotic battlefield, the radio voice sounds desperate. The front defense line has been breached by mutated beasts. Height 301 could fall at any time. Kill the beasts, protect the motherland. Li Yang plunges into the life-and-death battle, blood splattering everywhere. Suddenly waking up from the hallucination, Lin Yu's pupils shrink, and a strange blue electronic interface appears right before his eyes with the words, "Soul Devouring System Loading." Cold sweat breaks out. Lin Yu is extremely bewildered. Did I just see the past of a soldier who sacrificed himself? At that moment, a giant holographic screen lights up in midair, announcing a shocking piece of news. Soul Devouring System has been activated. But before our protagonist can understand what is happening at the table behind him, the giant mutated beast that was already dead suddenly opens a series of blood-red eyes. letting out a savage, guttural growl. Still unaware of the danger behind him, Lin Yu blankly looks at the data analysis scrolling in midair, wondering, soul-devouring system, what is this? Suddenly, a deafening roar echoes. The mutated beast corpse breaks its chains. It stands tall with a black aura covering its entire body, stretching its claws straight toward the small student. Startled as he turns around, Lin Yu's face turns pale. He swears loudly in extreme terror. Damn it, a level 1 mutated beast has turned into a rotten corpse. The purple wolf monster with a dozen blood-red eyes roars violently, black aura billowing out as if wanting to devour the little student. He clenches his teeth, his face showing extreme panic before this monster that has just come back from the dead. The wolf pounces to bite him. Lin Yu hurriedly brings his hands up to block and lets out a pained grunt. With its massive build, the mutated beast pins him to the floor, its sharp teeth frantically chewing through his protective layer. Right at the edge of life and death, the blue system board appears again like a savior. Soul memory of level 1 soldier Li Yang has been read. Please choose one of the following abilities to cultivate. A. Immortal Will. B. Basic military combat arts. C. Fervent fighting spirit. There is no time left to hesitate. He swings his fist in counterattack and shouts at the system. B. The punch slams into the chained neck area of the monster. At the same time, the system notifies him challengingly. Please use real combat to increase the proficiency of the skill. Lin Yu's eyes suddenly freeze and sweat. He struggles to hold on, but his eyes now shine with intense focus. Immediately, the mutated beast swings its razor-sharp claws. With force so staggering it cuts through the thick iron chain that was binding it. He nimbly jumps backward, dodging the lethal swipe that just smashed the tile floor into pieces. Landing with an unusually sturdy stance, his body seems no longer that of a weak student. Black aura wraps around Lin Yu. He is surprised to realize the change. It seems a stream of power is flowing into my body. My vision has also become clearer. I can see through the movements of this wolf. Unwilling to give up, the wolf frantically lunges again, its eyes burning red like blood. Its giant claws descend with a cruel blow, carving up the space where Lin Yu was just standing. He leans to dodge in the nick of time, sweating coldly and sighing. Almost went to meet my ancestors. Immediately, Lin Yu subconsciously enters a defensive stance. The image of soldier Li Yang flickers behind him as if merging with him. HMPH, is this the military combat art from the memory? My body actually reacted on its own to fight. He steadily blocks the monster's dual claw swipe, creating a shockwave that makes the whole room shake. Taking the opportunity to counterattack, Lin Yu's gaze becomes cold, gathering power to throw a thunderous punch forward. The heaven-shaking punch hits the wolf's face with unstoppable power. The giant body of the monster is sent flying, crashing into the floor and creating a long, cracked trail. Lin Yu stands looking at the monster that has collapsed, bending down to look at his hands with a look of disbelief. Since when did I become this strong? A cool blue aura surrounds his body and the system board shows stats. Basic military combat arts LV1 progress 10% plus 10% physical stamina reveals opponent's weak points. He excitedly exclaims, "It's the soul-devouring system. How unexpected to encounter this kind of fortuitous opportunity. This is truly too heaven-defying." Looking at the black aura winding on his hands, he frowns and guesses. But why did this happen? Could it be because of that blue speck of light that entered my forehead earlier? While he is busy thinking, the system board hospitably reports, "Corpse detected nearby, soul-devouring can be performed." The corners of his mouth lift into a cunning smile. Since the corpse of this wolf is still here, I might as well try it again. Before devouring the corpse, he carefully picks up the urn containing the ashes of soldier Li Yang. His eyes lower with respect and gratitude. He whispers gently, "Thank you, rest in peace." Then he strides toward the mutated beast corpse, calculating as he walks. The previous phenomenon occurred while cremating the body. This time it should probably be the same. But life is not an algorithm. The moment his hand touches the purple fur of the monster, the black aura immediately erupts, wrapping around his hand, making Lin Yu cry out in panic. What is this? His entire body is engulfed by the dark power. Black veins spread all over his cheeks. Lin Yu's eyes blaze with a bright golden light, his face grimacing as he forces himself to endure the evil energy rampaging through his body. He holds his head tightly, looking up at the sky and roaring amidst the towering black aura. And then his mind is dragged into a stream of strange memories. A scene of a ruined, fiery city where a pack of wolf-mutated beasts is running rampant. In the perspective of the monster, it is opening its foul mouth to pounce on a fallen soldier, only one bloodthirsty roar echoing in its head. So hungry, hungry, must eat human flesh. The battlefield is a tragic picture of tearing. The roar echoes with extreme greed, not enough, still need to eat more. The memory screen snaps off, returning to reality. Lin Yu kneels on the floor, holding his chest, coughing violently and shuddering with a chill. Was the memory just then the life of the mutated beast? He quickly wipes the sweat off his face, his gaze sinking with sorrow. Didn't expect that the soldiers at the frontier have to face so many terrible monsters every day. Right at that moment, the system's ding rings out. Soul memory of level 1 wolf mutated beast has been read. Please choose one of the following abilities to cultivate. A. Claw skill. B. Devouring technique. C. Chaotic consciousness. Lin Yu rests his chin in his hand and ponders, deducing the truth of his life. Looks like the speck of light during cremation was just the key to activate the soul devouring system. From now on, I just need to touch a corpse to devour it and read the memory. His eyes are fixed on the selection board. Claws or devouring technique, which one should I choose? Recalling the monster eating flesh, Lin Yu shakes his head violently at the terrifying prospect. What if the devouring technique forces me to eat human flesh? I can't take that. Without further delay, his finger decisively presses the safe choice. Maybe I should just choose the claw skill I saw in real combat. Immediately, a swirling black aura covers his right arm. The muscles bulge and transform into a giant, blazing red demon claw, sharp and overflowing with power. The system thoughtfully sends a user guide while Lin Yu is admiring his demon arm. Claw skill. In real combat, you can switch to claw state to fight. Looking at the updated stats board, his face shows excitement. The hand can turn into a sharp claw to attack. That's incredibly cool. But the joy doesn't last long. Another notification douses a bucket of cold water on his enthusiasm. Soul devouring skill is on cooldown, can only be restored and used after 12 hours. Lin Yu frowns in disappointment. So there's a cooldown time too. He sits down on the cold floor in front of the incinerator door, rubbing his chin in thought. Must research this system thoroughly. He intently stares at the virtual screen menu with two choices. Use and absorb in the military combat arts section. He mutters, when fighting earlier, the system reminded me that the skill proficiency can increase with use, so what about this absorption? His eyebrows furrow slightly, and he keenly presents a hypothesis. Could it be just absorbing the same skills to stack them? Sighing helplessly because he can't verify it, he puts the question aside, waiting for a chance to try it later. Suddenly, his eyes catch the words soul-devouring LV1 in the corner of the screen. Lin Yu's jaw drops in shock. Does the system itself have levels? He leans back, clicking his tongue at the half-baked design of this system. So that means the system can also be upgraded, but it doesn't note how. Anyway, thinking a lot is useless. He stands up, bracing his spirit. Just focus on what I can grasp right now. I'll figure out how to upgrade the system eventually. He clenches his fists, the black aura flaring violently around him again. I felt the military combat arts were very practical in combat. Let me take this chance to raise the proficiency of the military combat arts first. The scene bursts open. Memories of soldier Li Yang's heroic martial arts appear, harmonizing with Lin Yu's body as he enters the stance. He throws a wind-tearing punch forward, his eyes sharp and decisive. In midair, Lin Yu continuously throws lethal blows, both tumbling and silently sighing at the difficulty. The moves get harder as they go. A normal student simply couldn't do that. He throws a powerful elbow strike, continuing the train of thought. But since I inherited Li Yang's memories, it's a bit difficult, but it's like I've practiced it countless times. Finishing the martial routine, Lin Yu exhales a long, brave breath, the faint black energy dissipating into the air. His body relaxes slightly, his back looking a bit weary as he turns away. Wiping the sweat off his forehead, he smiles smugly, admiring the results. This set of military combat arts is harder than the body forging course taught at school. After just one session, I feel exhausted, but the vitality seems to circulate and concentrate much better. With eyes burning with passion, he flexes and shouts loudly, "Let's go again." The scene shifts to the next day. While he is sleeping deeply, a whisper of Lin Yu brushes past, followed by a shout that tears the eardrum, "Lin Yu," causing him to startle awake right in the middle of class. Greeting him is the bullet-shaped face of the teacher leaning her hands on the table. "Lin Yu, did your parents send you to school to sleep? There are only 2 months left until the entrance exam. With that vitality index of yours, you won't even pass college. Are you planning to go carry bricks at a construction site?" Following that is the mocking laughter of the classmate behind. "Ha ha 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 ha. With that vitality index of his, even the construction site won't hire him." Still wearing a sleepy, harmless look, he mutters obediently, "Teacher, I was wrong." Right after that, the bell rings, signaling the end of class, saving a soul. The teacher packs up her books and shouts, "Class dismissed." But as she walks away, she still can't help but glance back and sigh with regret for the student. Why is this kid Lin Yu so unmotivated? What a pity. Ignoring the world around him, Lin Yu rests his chin in his hand, his eyes with dark circles like a giant panda. I practiced more and more passionately last night, accidentally practiced the military combat arts all night, didn't sleep at all. His expression suddenly becomes serious and somewhat gloomy, but the proficiency only increased by 11%. This is too slow. He hangs his head looking at the table, muttering as he calculates his next steps. Looks like real combat is better for increasing proficiency. I wonder if absorbing would. Before he can finish, a voice full of sarcasm rings out, cutting off his thoughts. Aha, is our young Master Lin still not well rested? Is it Zhao Lei again? The lackey who spent yesterday licking boots leans his face close, slams his hand on the table and drops a very vicious remark. You won't be able to become a warrior anyway. Why not drop out now, take your vegetative sister and go beg, you might even earn some money. Facing Lin Yu at this moment, Zhao Lei suddenly breaks out in a cold sweat, takes a step back and stammers in surprise. Why does he give off such a completely different feeling? Seeing this, his friend Lam Han immediately stepped in to defend him, her face flushing with anger. Zhao Lei, that's going way too far. But Zhao Lei just waved her off arrogantly. Lam Han, this has nothing to do with you, go stand somewhere cooler. Not bothering to argue with an uneducated fool, Lin Yu gently grabbed Lam Han's hand and pulled her away, his face calm as he dropped a devastating line. Let's stay away from him, lest we catch his stupidity. Unexpectedly pulled away, Lam Han felt her cheeks burn. And as she looked up at the boy beside her with sparkling eyes, she couldn't help but wonder, why did Lin Yu suddenly seem so much more handsome? And his build also appeared to be better. The next second, a furious Zhao Lei pointed a finger and barked after them. You're actually just chickening out, aren't you? You trashy idiot, you're afraid of getting beaten up, so you just trash talk and run. Instantly, Lin Yu's heels came to a sharp halt on the floor. He turned his head back, his eyes flashing with a cold aura as the corners of his mouth curled into a provocative smirk. If you're that desperate for a beating, why don't we head to the martial arts hall for a match? As soon as the challenge left his lips, Zhao Lei's lackeys burst into mocking laughter. Zhao Lei's vitality index is 2.7, which is basically warrior standard territory. The school even gave him special combat training. Another one added, you waste who does nothing but sleep, stop poking the bear. When you get crippled, are you going to try and scam us for compensation? Lin Yu couldn't care less, his eyes burning with battle intent. Free sparring, assume your own risks. Zhao Lei gritted his teeth and sneered, you brought this on yourself. News spread quickly, and students across the school swarmed to see the spectacle. Let's go, I heard a third-year student is about to have a spar at the martial arts hall. Another student said excitedly, it's been so long since I've seen a duel, this is going to be good. The scene shifts to the spacious martial arts hall, where Lin Yu stood all alone with his hands behind his back. His demeanor relaxed as he faced the aggressive Zhao Lei and his gang. A lackey standing behind cheered them on enthusiastically. Zhao Lei, your vitality index is way higher than his, just end this with one punch. Zhao Lei cracked his knuckles, putting on an imposing big boss air. Brother Zhang isn't here today, so I'll take his place and teach you a lesson. The school prepared special combat training for me, and I'm going to use a piece of trash like you as a test dummy to build my reputation. Responding to that grand speech, Lin Yu just coolly dropped a dismissive remark. Just a hunting dog that only knows how to act tough. Driven mad with rage, Zhao Lei roared and swung a full-force punch straight toward Lin Yu's face. Still daring to run your mouth. Standing outside the ring, Lam Han turned pale and shouted in panic, Lin Yu. Yet contrary to everyone else's alarm, Lin Yu reached out and caught Zhao Lei's wrist with deadly precision. He gripped his opponent's hand tightly, his eyes flashing with a sharpness that completely overwhelmed him. I told you, I'll make sure both Zhang Yang and you regret this. Cold sweat beaded on Zhao Lei's forehead, his eyes widening in confusion and fear. How is this possible? A piece of trash with a vitality index of 0.62, how is he stronger than me? Giving him no chance to think, Lin Yu pulled hard, slamming Zhao Lei to the ground and sending him stumbling in an arc through the air. The moment he lost his momentum, he followed up with a powerful knee strike straight to Zhao Lei's chin, making him grunt in agony. The combo didn't stop there. Lin Yu pivoted and unleashed a lightning-fast punch, blasting his opponent away and creating a violent tremor. Zhao Lei flew like a scrap of paper, gouging the floor as he let out a miserable scream before collapsing. He scrambled to get up, hunched over and clutching his swollen, bloodied face, his panicked eyes fixed on the tooth that had just flown out. My teeth. Lin Yu stood tall and imposing, his cold gaze raining down on the loser, his voice firm and sharp. If you dare to insult my sister again, it won't just be a broken tooth. After resolving the trouble, he reached down, grabbed his backpack by the strap and picked it up. He turned his back and walked away with style, not bothering to look back at the pathetic scene even once. Kneeling on the ground, Zhao Lei, in the throes of uncontrollable rage, let out a grunt when his eyes landed on a wooden practice sword lying nearby. Driven to madness, he grabbed the sword, frantically lunged toward Lin Yu's retreating back, and roared with bloodlust. Lin Yu, go to hell. Sensing the killing intent behind him, Lin Yu tilted his head slightly, one eye flashing with a dangerous, deep red light, like a demon about to awaken. Zhao Lei swung the sword down with all his might, his face twisted in a state of absolute, insane frenzy, eager to devour his opponent alive. Crack, the sword shattered into pieces. Lin Yu's right arm had transformed into a giant, burning red demonic claw, easily obliterating the attack while Zhao Lei looked up with eyes bulging in absolute terror. Off balance and panicked, Zhao Lei sat hard on the floor, scrambling backward, his face drained of all color as the sharp, dangerous claw pointed straight at him. Looking down from above, one of Lin Yu's eyes glowed with an oppressive golden light. He coldly issued a challenge to the man trembling at his feet. You still want to continue? Immediately, the crowd began to stir in a frenzy. A male student gasped, "No way, what the hell is that? How did his hand suddenly turn into a claw?" Another stood by, envious and awestruck. "That's way too cool, who even needs weapons with that?" Meanwhile, another asked fearfully, Could he be infected? It doesn't look like a human skill at all." Ignoring the buzzing rumors, Lin Yu retracted his demonic claw, grabbed his backpack and left quietly, leaving Zhao Lei sitting on the ground, pointing a trembling, stuttering finger. Clutching his swollen cheek, Zhao Lei gritted his teeth, glared, and screamed bitterly at his back. "Just you wait, Brother Zhang will absolutely not let you get away with this." Without stopping or flinching, Lin Yu strode out of the building and coolly replied with a light but imposing retort. "I'll wait." Night fell and the full moon shone down on the familiar old massive cremation plant, where our student began his latest, unstable night shift. Walking into the workshop, Lin Yu cracked his knuckles to warm up, his expression full of excitement. The 12-hour cooldown for his soul-devouring skill was over, time to absorb some new abilities. He put on his protective gear, zipped it up, and muttered in anticipation of the system's next meal. "I wonder what kind of harvest I'll have today." Suddenly, a stern and condescending voice rang out from behind, making him turn around. "Lin Yu, you see me and you don't even know enough to open your mouth and greet me." The manager stood there with his hands behind his back, continuing to lecture him with his usual routine. "Kids these days really have no manners. You got this job thanks to me, yet you don't even know how to show gratitude." Unjustly scolded, Lin Yu gave a light glare and bluntly exposed the harsh truth right to the boss's face. "You really couldn't find anyone else, that's why you hired me. If it weren't for the high pay here, I wouldn't be working under you for a second longer." The next second, the man waved his hand and ordered, "A huge pile of bodies arrived today that need to be cremated. Get to work quickly, don't you dare be lazy." Not bothering to waste more words with a penny pincher, Lin Yu walked through the automatic door and into the cold moor. His eyes were met with long rows of metal gurneys, piled high with the corpses of both mutated beasts and fallen soldiers. Lin Yu's gaze sank, revealing deep concern mixed with heartache. Lately, more and more soldiers' bodies were being sent in. He recalled the horrific, brutal images from yesterday. In the memory of the Purple Hound from yesterday, there seemed to be a scene where the frontline defensive line had been breached. A terrifying thought flashed through his mind, causing him to startle. Could it be that the border is in a precarious situation? But then he shook his head, pushing that negative thought away, and consoled himself. How could that be? If it were really that serious, the news would definitely have reported it by now. Putting aside those macro-level anxieties, he reached out toward the body of a soldier wearing a mask, his eyes burning with firm resolve. "Regardless, for now I must raise my own strength as quickly as possible." Before activating the system, he clasped his hands together, bowed his head, and respectfully whispered an apology for the offense. Then he placed his hand on the soldier's forehead. Immediately, the familiar black energy rolled out again, wrapping around them both like magical tentacles. Enduring the energy surging into his body, his eyes glowed with purple light, analyzing quietly. "This soldier's uniform is very similar to Li Yang's. Who knows, maybe I'll get the military martial arts reinforcement skill again." The soul-devouring process concluded successfully, and a bright blue light erupted. Lin Yu closed his eyes and let out a long breath of relief. The blue system interface appeared right on cue. Soul memory of first-class soldier Wang Mu Yang read. "Please choose an ability to cultivate A military martial arts, B contaminated squad badge, C suicide courage." Without hesitation, aiming straight for his predetermined goal, his gaze sharpened as he locked in. Black energy surged over his hands. He waited nervously to see how the system worked. He had to see how absorbing was supposed to improve proficiency. He'd have to wait and see the results this time. He mentally called up his personal info. Instantly, a dazzling stat sheet appeared. His skill had leveled up to Basic Military Martial Arts LV2 10%. It came with a super broken annotation. Increases basic vitality by 20%, reveals opponents' weak points, and can predict enemy attack trajectories 0.5 seconds in advance. Lin Yu clenched his fist and grinned ear to ear like he'd struck gold. So absorbing the same skill can actually trigger a direct level up. He leaned back against the metal table holding the corpses and began to drift into a fantasy of his own power. Doesn't that mean I'll be able to quickly max out my skills? But life isn't a dream. A huge system notification came crashing down, shattering his fantasy. Soul-devouring skill is currently on cooldown. It can be used again in 12 hours. He was stunned and frozen. A bleak atmosphere filled with wandering spirits immediately surrounded Lin Yu. He grimaced and let out a long sigh. Oh, almost forgot the ultimate move has a cooldown, I can't just spam it. Returning to the harsh reality of making a living, he pushed the gurney cart toward the furnace with a clatter. Fine, better finish the job first, then worry about grinding my military martial arts proficiency. At the same time, the camera abruptly shifted to the frontline defense line. Under the dark night sky, with lightning crashing, a scene of devastation and ruin appeared, with human and beast corpses lying everywhere. Paramedics were struggling to lift a blood-soaked body onto a stretcher. One told his teammate with heartache, "Be careful, his cervical spine is completely severed, the neck is barely attached by a shred of skin, don't tear it off." The battlefield cleanup operation was massive. Heavy trucks were parked in two long lines, their beds piled high like mountains with the corpses of purple-colored mutated hounds. A worker in a full protective suit raised a hand to signal, then slapped the side of the truck and shouted, "Truck number 1 is fully loaded, let's roll." The wheels began to roll. The bright headlights of the truck pierced the dense, foggy mist, bringing the precious resources rumbling toward the cremation plant, promising a long, busy night ahead for our young Master Lin. The heavy truck rumbled along, swaying and bouncing on the rugged dirt road in the dead of the night. The jolting truck bed revealed the spoils within, a pile of scattered purple mutated hound corpses, and a pair of glowing red eyes beneath the stacked bodies, looking absolutely bone-chilling. Even though it had passed on, the eye socket of one of the mutated beast corpses still flashed with a sinister, deadly red light in the darkness. The scene changes to the following morning in the school stairwell, where the pink-haired girl, Lam Han, clutched her notebook to her chest, surrounded by Zhao Lei's remaining lackeys. She nervously backed against the stairs while a lackey stepped forward aggressively and threatened through gritted teeth, "Lam Han, I'm saying this one last time." The ringleader, Zhang Yang, leaned against the window and taunted with arrogance. "You set up a meeting for that Lin Yu to come to the courtyard after school, and I won't beat him, just force him to kneel and apologize to Zhao Lei, and we'll call it even." His eyes narrowed as he glared at the tiny girl with pure malice. "Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't be walking out of this hallway today." Ignoring the threat, Lam Han bravely defended her friend and retorted loudly, "I already said that's impossible. Zhao Lei started it and you all were the ones bullying him first. Lin Yu did nothing wrong." Seeing this, Zhao Lei, with his head wrapped in white bandages like a mummy, jumped up to tell on her. "Brother Zhang, why talk so much with this bitch? She's cut from the same cloth as that Lin Yu. Yesterday, when that Lin Yu beat me, she was standing right next to him laughing." Falsely accused, Lam Han turned red with anger and shouted a rebuttal. "You're lying, I did no such thing." Before the words left her lips, a lackey's rough hand reached out and snatched the blue notebook from her arms. "Give that back," Lam Han panicked, jumping up to reach for it. The lackey held the notebook high to tease her, laughing mockingly. "Oh, why so tense? Are you preparing this for that waste Lin Yu?" When Lam Han tried to grab it back, the guy shoved her shoulder hard, making her stumble and yelled, "Behave yourself." He leisurely flipped through the pages, clicking his tongue and mocking her efforts, highlighting key points, detailed example explanations. Tusk, you're really putting in the effort." Then his expression turned malicious as he gripped the edges of the notebook with both hands, ready to tear it apart. "Too bad, no matter how much you help a waste, they'll still be a waste." Lam Han screamed in despair, reaching out to stop him, but her cherished notebook was torn in half, fluttering through the air. Zhao Lei took the opportunity to step forward, grabbing her wrists and pulling her back, laughing savagely. "That's what you get for meddling in other people's business. Do you finally know the outcome of helping the wrong person?" At that exact moment, Zhang Yang's expensive shoes stepped right onto the torn pages on the ground, his voice cold as he ordered his lackeys, "Let her go." Zhao Lei backed off obediently. Zhang Yang leaned down to look at the tears of frustration rolling down Lam Han's cheeks. His tone was condescending and taunting. "It's just a notebook, are you crying already?" He roughly grabbed her chin, forcing her to look up, leaned in close and whispered meanly, "Pleasing me is worth way more than hanging out with that kind of trash." Furious at the scumbags, Lam Han glared and roared, "Get lost," before biting down hard on his finger. Zhang Yang retracted his hand in pain, his rage exploding as he swung a slap. "You ungrateful bitch." A stinging slap landed squarely on Lam Han's cheek, sending her crashing to the ground. Lam Han collapsed, clutching her swollen red cheek. Meanwhile, Zhao Lei in the back chimed in with obsequious flattery. "Nice hit, brother Zhang. This bitch biting you means she doesn't respect you at all." Ignoring the taunts, Lam Han's eyes followed the torn notebook in the lackey's hand, thinking desperately, "The notebook I've been preparing for Lin Yu for half a month." Overwhelmed with injustice, she slammed a hand against the cold floor to push herself up. Despite the oppression, she risked her life to lunge forward, trying to grab the torn pieces of the notebook. She absolutely could not let them destroy everything. Seeing her resistance, Zhang Yang's eyes turned even colder and more vicious. "I gave you a chance and you still don't know your place." He lunged, roughly grabbed her neck and pressed her into the floor, creating a painful impact. Zhang Yang pinned Lam Han down, his face twisted in arrogance. This is the difference in our vitality indexes. My strength and speed are #1 in the whole school. Resisting is just asking for more pain. The young girl closed her eyes and endured it. He loosened his grip slightly and threatened through gritted teeth. You like to use your hands and feet so much, I'll make sure you remember this for a long time. Zhang Yang signaled his lackeys circling Lam Han. The three of you go at once. If you break her, I'll take the responsibility. A fierce-looking lackey immediately swung a punch straight at her, yelling aggressively. This is the result of going against Brother Zhang. But the attack didn't reach its target. A steady hand reached out, grabbed his wrist, and blocked the entire assault. Lin Yu appeared with eyes as sharp as razors, gripped the bully's hand tight, and growled in fury. 4 against 1, and you don't feel any shame in hitting a woman. Seeing her love interest appear, Lam Han hurriedly grabbed his arm, her face filled with worried advice. Lin Yu, I'm fine, let's go, don't get into a conflict with them. Not letting the injustice toward his friends slide, Lin Yu coldly twisted the lackey's arm, making him scream in agony. Just then Zhang Yang walked out from behind with his hands in his pockets, wearing an arrogant smirk. Lin Yu, you finally decided to show up. Perfect, saves me the trouble of having to look for you. He raised his hand, waving a burnt, torn scrap of paper in front of him. It was the page with the words key points for the warrior assessment. Lin Yu, go for it, that Lam Han had painstakingly prepared. Seeing his friend's sincerity trampled, Lin Yu's eyes dimmed with killing intent. He gritted his teeth. I'll just pretend I was bitten by a stray dog that tore up a notebook. Zhang Yang maintained his arrogant expression, showing disdain for the weak. You piece of trash, you talk a big game. Without another word, Lin Yu lunged forward, unleashing a powerful punch aimed squarely at his face. His fist smashed into Zhang Yang's face, sending him flying. He lowered his head, shadows hiding his eyes, and ground out every word. For what you did to Lam Han, I will absolutely never forgive you. The next second he was sent flying far back, sliding along the ground for a long distance. A wave of black energy erupted around Lin Yu. He stood up straight, his presence completely overwhelming. I will make you pay double for the humiliation she suffered. The crowd of students began to gasp and whisper. Is Lin Yu crazy? He dares to talk to Zhang Yang like that. Another student added. Yesterday he beat Zhao Lei, today he wants to take on Zhang Yang too. From the back, Zhao Lei with his head wrapped in white bandages kept his habits, shouting instigation. Brother Zhang, beat him to death. Energy light erupted around Zhang Yang as well. He grinned, clearly entertained. Interesting, Lin Yu, why didn't I realize you had this much backbone before? But then he abruptly let go of his stance, standing straight with a calculating look. Cleaning you up here would be doing you too big a favor. He pulled a hand from his pocket and loudly announced his challenge. 3 days from now, public duel at the Central Training Grounds. If you win, I won't just apologize and pay compensation, but I'll also ensure we never trouble you guys again. A close-up of a form lying neatly on the ground with the big letters. Qingteng Academy Public Duel Registration Form. But the good part was still to come. Zhang Yang leaned in close, smiling maliciously as he announced the price. But if you lose, you have to kneel in front of the whole school, admit you're a piece of trash, and voluntarily withdraw from school. The crowd was stirred once more, sweat pouring for our protagonist. A public duel the whole school is going to be watching. Zhang Yang is trying to completely destroy Lin Yu. Lin Yu is a dead man walking, who told him to be so arrogant. Lam Han panicked, clutching Lin Yu's back, tears welling up. Lin Yu, don't accept. Your sister is still waiting for you to take care of her. A few kind-hearted students worriedly spoke up. Lin Yu, let it go, dropping out is no joke. Zhang Yang's vitality index is 3.5 and you aren't even at 1. The gap is too big, you can't win, don't be impulsive. Seeing him stay silent, Zhao Lei took the opportunity to push, sneering. If you're scared, just say so. Kneel and kowtow 3 times and Brother Zhang might just show mercy. His lackeys chimed in. Trash is still trash, why pretend to be tough? Amidst all the disparaging remarks, Lin Yu decisively bent down to pick up the form, his cold gaze finalizing his decision. I accept, but I have one request. He grabbed a pen and while writing clearly stated his condition. The entire duel must be recorded and broadcast publicly. The pen tip slid quickly across the paper, leaving the signature Lin Yu in a firm, steady hand on the challenger line. Without another word, Lin Yu turned around and flung the paper toward his enemy with a completely decisive flair. The scene shifts to the massive cremation plant under the glowing sunset, black smoke billowing from the giant chimneys, a testament to a hard day's work. Our young protagonist strode into the cold hallway, his back radiating absolute determination. Behind him, the manager and the burly employee were hurrying to keep up. Lin Yu's gaze was firm, he whispered to himself. These 3 days, I absolutely must try my best to advance my military martial arts or absorb new skills. The duel 3 days from now I must win. A fiery intent burned in his heart. As he stepped into the lobby, the burly employee happily reported to the manager. The batch that needs processing today is because cremation plant number 1 couldn't handle it all, so they transferred it to us. Lin Yu frowned upon hearing this. Cremation plant number 1, isn't that the place that specializes in processing the bodies of more powerful mutated beasts? The employee turned to fawn over manager Wang incessantly. With so many corpses sent here, it proves that our cremation workshop has strong capability. It's all thanks to your brilliant leadership, Manager Wang. The manager answered arrogantly. You're pretty good, kid, easy to teach. Your vitality is the highest here right now, just keep working hard and I won't treat you poorly. Lin Yu gave a light glare, answering with indifference. I'm going right now. As he turned and walked away, he cursed in his head. This old guy turns his back faster than flipping a book. Just then the young man approached the door of cremation room number 7. A loud thud sounded from inside, making the iron door vibrate violently. He pushed the door open to step inside. A huge pile of deadly purple mutated hound bodies were stacked on the giant metal table. No wonder there were suddenly so many. It turned out they had to work overtime. Suddenly, a sharp bolt of black energy whistled through the air, flashing right in front of Lin Yu. Surprise, surprise! A mutated hound with blood-red eyes growled and scrambled up from the pile of bodies, lunging straight at the young man who had just entered the room. The cowardly colleague standing next to him screamed in terror. What? The colleague's terrified scream was cut short when the savage beast chomped down and severed his neck. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. A large pool of blood spread across the floor. The beast dragged the poor fellow's body away. The door slammed shut, ending the life of the sycophant. In cremation room number 6, Lin Yu was grabbing his gear when he stopped and listened. What sound is that? It sounds like someone is screaming in agony. Looking out at the quiet hallway without a single soul, he shrugged and clicked his tongue. So quiet, must have misheard, better finish the work quickly. Pushing the door open and stepping into his room, his eyes are met with mutated beast corpses lying scattered all over the ground. Are these all mutated beast corpses today? He sighs heavily, feeling regretful over the missed opportunity to grind skill levels. Looks like there's no way to advance the basic military combat arts today, but it's a good thing the casualties among frontline soldiers have decreased. Suddenly his keen eyes spot an anomaly. Was the color of this one's tail like that just a moment ago? The mutated beast's tail on the floor has scales that are slowly and eerily turning a greenish-gray color. Lin Yu frowns and steps back on alert. Why does the color of these scales seem to be changing? Before he can even react, the giant wolf-mutated beast suddenly opens its mouth wide, roars violently, and lunges straight at Lin Yu with a series of black energy tentacles firing out in every direction. With keen reflexes, Lin Yu instinctively steps back, avoiding the lethal bite. The monster flashes past his face, its razor-sharp claws grazing his clothes by a hair's breadth. With a large but agile frame, the mutated beast lands on the floor, flicks its sharp, cold tail forward, and assumes a combat stance. He glances at the spot where the monster was just lying, his eyes widening in surprise. It disappeared. Suddenly realizing the problem, Lin Yu assumes his combat stance, his eyes full of tension. It didn't crawl out of the corpse, it was disguising itself as rotting tissue. Monsters have found a way to infiltrate like this. The memory of the ruined scene on the front lines flashes through his mind, and he realizes the severity of the situation. If I don't do something, this place will turn into hell. He clenches his fists, ready to face death. He shuts his eyes tight, focusing his senses to the maximum. A system notification appears. Closing eyes amplifies all senses. Rely on the observation ability of the basic military combat arts to detect openings. Around him, the slightest rustling and movement of the monster are amplified. The invisible black auras gradually reveal their true forms in his mind. Lin Yu's eyes snap open, the golden light shining sharply. Found you. He pivots, gathering strength to throw the iron tongs from the table forcefully toward the dark corner. The tongs spin rapidly in midair, aiming straight for the shadow that is lurking. Clang, the tongs pin straight into the center of the monster's forehead, revealing its hideous form. Lin Yu shouts loudly, swinging his flaming claw skill. Get out here! The monster roars in pain, lunging forward and exposing its entire body. He doesn't hesitate to swing his demon claws, tearing a long gash across the mutated beast's chest. Black blood erupts, and black tentacles from the wound immediately reach out to grab his arm. He is startled and tries to shake his hand free. Damn it, I absolutely cannot let myself get polluted. After the narrow escape, Lin Yu sighs in relief and touches the small, bleeding scratch on his neck, silently thanking his ancestors for the protection. Luckily, the level 2 basic military combat arts help me predict its moves, otherwise my throat would have been ripped out. Now it's just a light skin scratch. Just as he is patting his chest to calm his nerves, the loudspeaker rings out sharply like a frantic siren, dousing the young man with a bucket of cold water. Attention everyone! Invisible illusion-scaled mutated beasts have appeared in rooms 3, 7, 14, and 15. Everyone is required to evacuate immediately to the central safe room and wait for the military to arrive for rescue. Hearing this, Lin Yu breaks into a cold sweat, his eyes bulging in confusion. What is this? Do the other crematorium rooms have monsters too? Without hesitating another second, the young man's silhouette is seen ducking through the half-open shutter door, preparing to slip away from this monster den. He peeks his head out, his eyes darting around to assess the situation, then mutters to reassure himself. Looks quiet, I don't see any energy ripples. Time to bail. But just as he pokes his head out, Lin Yu's pupils suddenly contract, his face turning pale and stunned. It turns out the heart-wrenching scream he heard earlier belonged to him. Before his eyes is a horrific scene. The muscular colleague who was happily flattering the manager just moments ago is now lying sprawled in a pool of blood, long since breathless. Stunned as he stands in the cold hallway, Lin Yu screams silently in his heart. Just how many monsters have infiltrated this place, for heaven's sake? Before he can recover his senses, the frantic, desperate cries for help from a group of people running for their lives from a pack of purple-hued wolves echo from afar. Lin Yu's eyes suddenly catch a familiar figure running at the front of the line. He exclaims in surprise, Manager Wang. Watching the dark-hearted boss running like an Olympic athlete, Lin Yu clicks his tongue. I really hate his attitude, but forget it, saving people is more important. No sooner said than done, he turns around and swings his arm to gain momentum. As fast as lightning, he throws a sharp, wind-tearing stream of energy forward, landing a perfect precision strike on the lead monster's snout, making its head spin as it is sent flying backward. Taking the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Manager Wang flies toward the safe room door, throws it wide open, and yells at everyone, get in here quickly. The employees behind him are also crying and urging each other, hurry up, get to the safe room quickly, while the purple monsters are baring their teeth in close pursuit right behind their backs. Even a hero knows fear. Lin Yu retreats while providing cover, sweating coldly as he assesses the situation. Man, with my current level, I'm not free to take on an entire pack of monsters like this. It's best to just slip into the safe area and wait for reinforcements to save my own skin. Just as he thinks he is about to be safe, alas, the wretched boss Wang standing inside the door reaches out and drops a cold statement with a shameless, cowardly expression. You go be the rear guard. Along with the slam of the door preparing to close is the panicked but extremely inhuman face of the manager. He hisses, trash only has this much utility value. Left alone to fend for himself against the hungry pack of wolves, Lin Yu roars bitterly while forcing himself to block the giant monster's strike. Damn it, what a bunch of ungrateful bastards. While cursing, he is rammed by a wolf monster, tumbling several times before sliding across the floor. Crawling up, he grimaces in alert. The energy camouflage trick of this mutated beast is truly top tier. If you lose focus for even a second, you can't tell where it is. In the nick of time, from inside the sealed door comes the ruthless, urgent cry of his good colleagues. Forget that trash, close the door, hurry and close it. Cornered against the wall, Lin Yu grinds his teeth, his eyes bloodshot with rage as he yells. Wait a second. Ignoring the pack of monsters behind him, he rushes to bang on the door, desperately shouting, wait for me. But the only response is the cruel swearing from inside. Forget that trash, if he dies, it's one less burden. Lin Yu is shaking with anger, turning back to punch the door hard and roar, you bastards. Realizing the harsh truth, he bangs on the door frantically. Damn it, open the door, hurry and open the door. He keeps slamming both hands against the door repeatedly, sweat pouring down like rain, his heart filled with extreme resentment. Realizing that begging those cold-blooded people is useless, Lin Yu's eyes suddenly harden, the fear gradually fading, replaced by survival instinct and cold, sharp determination flashing in his pupils. He slowly turns his head, facing the 4 giant monsters baring their fangs and claws to surround him. Lin Yu licks his lips, muttering as he evaluates his opponents. Man, there are 4 of them, and looking at their behavior, it seems they even know how to coordinate their attacks. Taking a deep breath, he braces his spirit black aura beginning to flare intensely. The door definitely won't open anymore. If I just run blindly, I'll just be dinner for them. Since that's the case, let's go all out, let's bled. In the moment of life and death, the heroic memories of the soldiers on the front lines come rushing back. The image of them rushing into enemy lines, ignoring life and death, adds invisible strength to him. The soldiers on the front lines have to face situations 1,000 times tougher than this, yet they can still trample over fear and heroically kill the enemy. Lin Yu's face glows with resilience and self-respect. He exerts himself and shouts loudly. Then, as someone who has inherited those great skills, I absolutely cannot let them down. Black aura surges, covering one eye, with black veins clearly visible on the young man's furious face. Besides, my sister is still waiting for me to return. I absolutely cannot die meaninglessly in this hole. Kicking the wall to gain momentum, Lin Yu flies into midair like an arrow, swinging his fist wrapped in black aura straight at the largest monster, roaring, "Let's start with you." Seeing him suddenly lunge forward, the large monster stops abruptly, its red eyes showing extreme bewilderment as if to say, "You can see me." Immediately, Lin Yu clenches his hand, gathering the surging black aura into his fist, standing tall and facing the snarling mutated beast, ready for round two. The corners of his mouth lift confidently as he silently analyzes. Since the proficiency of basic military combat arts in real combat is higher now, I just need to focus all my power to detect their energy fluctuations. No sooner said than done, he gathers momentum and lunges forward like a wind-tearing arrow, confronting the enemy's sharp claws head-on. Lin Yu's eyes shine with a cold, hawk-like intensity as he spots the prey. He growls out a precise judgment. The weak point is right there. Fast as lightning, he swings his arm in a sharp slash that tears through the monster's belly, causing black blood to erupt and splatter all over the floor. But before he can breathe a sigh of relief, another shadow barring its fangs and claws lunges straight from the front. He frowns and exclaims, "Another one." Without flinching, he pours all his power into his black-armored arm and throws a powerful counterstrike that knocks the enemy into midair, telling himself, "I can do this, just take this chance to clean them up." Struck by the lethal blow, the large wolf-mutated beast falls backward, writhing in a pool of black blood and unable to get up. Lin Yu lands in a cool pose, his right hand now transformed into a blazing red demon claw, radiating overwhelming power pointed straight at the enemy's face. Not giving it a chance to utter a last word, the sharp claws pierce through the hard scales, ending the monster's life in an instant. He pulls his hand out of the enemy's corpse. Lin Yu coldly calculates, 2 more left. However, just as he turns his head to finish off the rest, the hallway is suddenly empty. He breaks into a cold sweat and is startled. Can't see them anywhere. Standing alone in the eerily quiet space, he grimaces as he assesses the situation. The strength of the 2 remaining ones is much higher. I can't see any energy fluctuations at all. His eyes scan every corner, his muscles tense, reminding himself, they're definitely still lurking around here, absolutely cannot be careless. Lin Yu shuts his eyes tight, forcing his heartbeat to slow down so he can listen for the smallest movement. Stay calm, I'll find their opening eventually. Just as he is straining his ears to listen, a viscous, thick liquid slowly drips onto the cold floor right next to him. Realizing something is wrong, Lin Yu opens his eyes wide, his breathing becoming heavy as if he has sniffed out the target's position. A very sarcastic half-smile forms on his lips and he roars triumphantly, "Found you." Not hesitating for half a second, he gathers strength to leap high into the air, aiming his demon claws straight at the mutated beast clinging like a gecko to the wall. The razor-sharp claws sink into the monster, creating a fatal wound that sends blood splashing everywhere. But the joy doesn't last long. A chilling, murderous aura suddenly descends. He startles and exclaims, "Something's behind me." A black energy attack with terrifying destructive force strikes his back, the pressure so strong it tears the surrounding space. As the dust clears, Lin Yu is kneeling on the ground, his right hand holding his left arm which is drenched in fresh blood, grinding his teeth and swearing, "Damn it, playing dirty, huh?" Sweat pours down his face. He glares at the enemy with fiery, unyielding eyes. "My left arm is almost ruined." But he slowly raises his eyes, facing the last mutated beast barring its fangs and claws to intimidate him, radiating a suffocating aura. Once again, the monster tries its camouflage trick, but Lin Yu's pupils have contracted, sharp as ever. "Camouflaging again? Don't even think about fooling my eyes this time." Standing up straight, he leisurely watches the enemy's black blood dripping down, pooling on the tile floor. Too familiar with this trick, he snaps his head up, locking his vision on the dark shadow hanging above. "You're hiding up there, aren't you?" Caught in position, the mutated beast widens its blood-red eyes like headlights, staring down at its persistent prey. Lin Yu smirks triumphantly, raising his horribly mutated left arm. "Fool, I let your claws get my blood on purpose." Immediately, the giant monster opens its blood-dripping, drooling mouth and lunges straight from above, while Lin Yu calmly uses his blazing red demon arm to block the strike. Not holding back any strength, his eyes flare with the fire of desperation. A backhand slash sharper than a razor is swung upward, tearing through the hard scales and decisively cutting the monster's large body in two. Pressing his advantage, Lin Yu exerts force to strike the floor, crushing the enemy in an earth-shaking collision, dust and smoke billowing everywhere. After the moment of explosion, the young man's silhouette is seen kneeling on the ground, his whole body soaked in sweat. He gasps heavily with each breath. I can't collapse yet." His eyelids are heavy as if lead. He bites his teeth, telling himself with the last thin shred of consciousness, "I still have to hurry." But at his limit, his body refuses to listen anymore and falls backward. He whispers his last words before losing consciousness. lying motionless in the pool of black blood and the pile of monster corpses strewn across the cold floor. From the corpse, a black energy stream begins to be absorbed into his forehead. The scene shifts to the end of the hallway. A squad of soldiers in full gear is rushing forward with flashlights. A voice reports, 30 meters left to the safe room. Suddenly, the gray-haired captain in the lead raises his hand to signal a stop, his sharp eyes scanning the darkness. Suspected monsters ahead, everyone stay on high alert. As they approach, a masked team member widens his eyes, cold sweat breaking out when he sees the scene before him. Hitting the rescue team's eyes is a tragic battlefield, monsters lying dead all around a young man who is lying unconscious. The team member can't help but exclaim, "Holy crap, could this entire pile have been done by this kid alone?" Just as the atmosphere is tense, the safe room door pops open and Manager Wang runs out while patting his chest, his face displaying a fake, joyful expression. "You guys finally arrived. Are all the monsters dead?" Ignoring the cowardly demeanor, the captain calmly commands, "It's safe now. Everyone maintain a combat-ready state. Team 1, go support the survivors. Team 2, inspect the scene." He squats down, his glove touching the fatal wound on the mutated beast's corpse, frowning as he evaluates. The tears are irregular and very messy. It seems they weren't caused by standard weapons. Suddenly, a shout comes from his teammate. "Captain, this kid is still alive." The captain turns his head in surprise. Seeing all attention focused on Lin Yu, Wang feels guilty and immediately points at the boy's mutated arm and screams in a panic. His arm. Indeed, Lin Yu's left arm at this moment looks no different from a demon's arm. Black veins bulge, and the claws are red as blood. A guard immediately points his weapon straight at Lin Yu, warning vigilantly. "Mutation, he's polluted. Captain, while he's still unconscious, we must eliminate him immediately or he'll turn into a monster." Contrary to the panic of his subordinates, the captain raises his hand to stop them, calmly saying, "Wait, his arm is changing." Seeing his plan to kill him with borrowed knives about to fail, Wang breaks into a cold sweat and screams to incite them. "What are you waiting for? If he wakes up, we're all done for." His face clearly reveals malice, silently calculating in his head. "He can't stay alive, otherwise what I did to him will be exposed." Too annoyed by the manager's attitude, the captain pulls out his gleaming sword, points it straight at his face, and growls, "Shut up. If you say another word, I'll deal with you first." Ignoring Wang, who is scared pale, the captain turns back and analyzes sharply. The traces around here and the pieces of flesh and blood left on his arm all show that he himself killed these 4 illusion-scaled monsters. No sooner had he finished than the whole squad's jaws dropped, one person stuttering in shock. Our whole squad struggled to deal with 4 illusion-scaled monsters at once. This kid could alone. Wang is still unwilling to give up, trying to bite his teeth and argue. This brat's vitality is only 0.68. If he wasn't polluted, how could he do that? The most important thing is to kill him to prevent future trouble. Ignoring the mindless barking, the captain lifts Lin Yu's arm, which is gradually recovering its human form, his eyes full of surprise and admiration. 0.68 yet single-handedly killed 4 illusion-scaled monsters. Could he be a legendary prodigy? He throws Wang a knife-like look, exposing his crooked reasoning. Pollution is truly irreversible. He has already recovered, which means there is no problem. What are you panicking about? Struck in the heart, the manager stammers a weak excuse. I'm just worried about everyone's safety." The captain doesn't bother to argue anymore, declaring the protagonist's fate. "We are currently short of manpower. Talent with high combat ability is exactly what we need. He will be taken over by our squad." Time passes, the clear blue sky shines brightly on a spacious hospital building, which is strangely peaceful. On the snow-white hospital bed, Lin Yu slowly frowns, waking up from a deep sleep. He mutters, "What is that sound?" He springs up, looking around the strange room, blankly asking, "Is this a hospital?" From the corner of the room, the handsome gray-haired captain is standing with his arms crossed against the wall, giving a friendly smile. "Don't worry, you're safe now." Even though he escaped death, his wariness remains. Lin Yu stares at the man in front of him and asks directly, "Who are you?" The captain steps forward, holds up his work ID and introduces himself. "I am Chen Zhen, captain of the pollution cleanup squad for this area." Chen Zhen drops the smile, his face becoming serious and sincere. "I'm here to offer an apology. The monster infiltration last night was our responsibility. Furthermore, we couldn't arrive in time to rescue you, leaving you in danger. I'm sorry." Hearing this decent tone, Lin Yu steps off the bed, shrugs, and waves his hand in a very chill manner. The incident happened too suddenly. It's just something that couldn't be helped. Seeing the young man's unpretentious attitude, Chen Zhen laughs in appreciation. "Kid, you single-handedly wiped out 4 illusion-scaled monsters, one of which was an elite class. You really helped us out." Seeing that the young man seems easy to talk to, Chen Zhen gives a bright smile and directly extends an invitation. "Want to become a warrior and join us?" Hearing this, Lin Yu's eyes shine like he's found gold. He points at his own face, excitedly asking back, "Join you guys? Am I really capable of that?" The boy's instant yes catches Chen Zhen by surprise. He scratches his head in confusion. A normal person would hesitate. What reason do you have to be so excited about becoming a warrior? In Lin Yu's mind, the heroic images of the warriors exhausting their strength to fight back against the brutal monsters flash through. He answers in a low voice. I've witnessed too many monsters and heroic warriors sacrificing themselves at the crematorium. Recently, warrior casualties have been increasing, instead of sitting and waiting for death. He clenches his hand, his eyes becoming unusually firm when thinking of his sister lying in the medical treatment chamber. I want to fight even more to protect my family. Impressed by the fire of determination in the young man's eyes, Chen Zhen pats him hard on the shoulder, laughing heartily. Good, but you have to pass the warrior selection test before you can join the squad. Looking at Lin Yu, the captain silently nods in approval. This kid not only has actual strength but also a selfless spirit for his family. He really is a good seed. But the smile on Lin Yu's face suddenly fades. He hangs his head, feeling down. The requirement for the test is a personal vitality of at least 3 to participate. Before he can finish his lament, a certificate with a bright red seal is presented in front of him. Chen Zhen smiles. Now you have the qualification. The paper clearly records the nomination of Lin Yu to participate in this warrior selection test, signed by Chen Zhen below. After handing over the great gift, the captain turns around and walks toward the door, not forgetting to leave a piece of advice. The selection test will start in 1 month. Along with the sound of the hospital room door closing neatly, Chen Zhen's voice rings out. Prepare well. Holding the nomination paper, which is more precious than gold, a bright smile blooms on Lin Yu's face again, hope lit in his heart. Becoming a warrior will grant me access to the best medical resources. Maybe there's a way to cure my sister's illness. While immersed in happiness, a 3D system board suddenly dings right in front of his face with a notification. Sole memory of elite-class illusion-scaled monster read. Lin Yu's eyes round in surprise. Is it the soul of the last one from yesterday? The system continues to show options. Please choose one of the following abilities to cultivate. A. Scale defense. B. Enhanced claws. C. Camouflage aura. He excitedly slaps his thigh. Awesome, the fight yesterday wasn't in vain. Lin Yu crosses his legs, puts his hand on his chin, acting deep in thought. Which one should I choose? Remembering the monster's toughness, he calculates that solid scales could withstand damage. Then he thinks of the powerful claw strikes. Enhanced claws could continue to improve attack power. And finally, the wretched camouflage trick that almost wiped him out. Camouflage aura. Thinking of this, Lin Yu smirks cunningly, pointing straight forward to finalize. If it weren't for those few drops of blood that gave it away, the camouflage aura of the elite monster was indeed perfect. You're the one. His fingertip decisively presses hard on the virtual control board, selecting C. Camouflage aura. The system immediately activates. Camouflage aura. Duration is determined by the host's stamina. The familiar black energy begins to billow and cover Lin Yu's body. The notification continues to run. Host can completely hide his aura and blend into the environment. He raises his hand to look, shocked to find it gradually becoming transparent and shimmering as if by magic. But when he tries to clench his fist, the camouflage seems to flicker. He clicks his tongue, nodding. The camouflage still isn't perfect, looks like I need to practice more. The skill status board appeared clearly. Basic Military Martial Arts LV2 increases vitality by 20%, reveals opponent's weak points and predicts attack trajectories 0.5 seconds in advance. Basic Demonic Claw LV1 increases hand-to-hand attack power by 5% and inflicts tearing damage. He swiped across the screen to check. The screen continued. Basic Camouflage hides user's presence, achieves semi-transparent state when stationary, and creates a blurry effect when moving. Duration is equal to 50% of vitality. Lin Yu nodded as he calculated. Since I can't devour souls for now, I will train my existing skills to their absolute limits. He clenched his fist, his eyes burning with the confidence of a war god preparing to step into the ring. This gives me an extremely sharp trump card for next week's duel with Zhang Yang. Sometime later, he arrived at a lush, dense forest. Lin Yu stood relaxing amidst nature, muttering as he grasped a truth. Camouflage isn't just about simple invisibility, it's about becoming a part of the surrounding environment. Just as he tried to act cool, a small bird innocently flew over and perched right on his shoulder. Lin Yu startled, breaking into a cold sweat with a twisted expression as he lamented, "This isn't good, I can't even fool a bird." Learning from his mistake, he sat cross-legged on a rock, closed his eyes to focus, and black energy burst intensely around him. I need to suppress my own energy to the lowest level possible, lurking just like a predatory beast. Finally, his efforts paid off. Lin Yu stood up, his entire body now blended perfectly into the magical blue aura of the environment. He smiled triumphantly, Both the range and depth of my camouflage are expanding. I'll keep grinding using this method. Returning to the training room, Lin Yu stood in front of a large mirror. He reached out with his left hand to touch the glass, carefully observing the magical transformation as half of his arm completely merged into the air. From his fingertips to his wrist, the camouflage was doing its job perfectly, making his reflection in the mirror blurry and transparent like a ghost. With black energy gently swirling around his body, Lin Yu wore a smug, half-smiled grin and muttered, "Half my body is already invisible, only the other half left." Immediately, the familiar blue system board popped up with good news. Basic camouflage proficiency increased by 5%. Seeing his hard work finally bear fruit, Lin Yu's eyes lit up and he exclaimed excitedly, "Success." Pulling his fingerless gloves tight, his eyes became incredibly sharp and dangerous. He growled a challenge to the empty air, "Zhang Yang, I'll show you who the real piece of trash is." Time flew by and the scene shifted to the training grounds of Qing Tang Academy. The atmosphere in the stands was more heated than ever. The crowd whispered, "This is my first time watching a public duel. Lin Yu won't just be expelled, he's going to be humiliated miserably, just watch." A piece of trash with a vitality level of 0.68 wants to fight Zhang Yang? Isn't this just a one-sided slaughter? Amidst the noisy crowd, Lam Han rested her chin on her hand against the railing, her eyes filled with nervous anxiety. Lin Yu has been asking for leave for a few days. Do you guys think something happened to him? In a hidden corner near the arena, two lackeys were obsequiously fawning over an arrogant, gray-haired young man. "Brother Yang, the traps on the arena are all set. We guarantee Lin Yu won't be walking out of here on his own today." From the dark tunnel, a steady, arrogant footstep stomped onto the tiles, signaling the entrance of today's villain. Zhang Yang stepped out with immense arrogance, flames burning furiously around him like a fire dragon displaying its might. He grinned coldly, his eyes scanning the arena with disdain as he voiced his challenge. "Where is that waste Lin Yu? Did he get so scared that he dropped out of school?" Sitting in the judge's chair, the elegant female teacher could only helplessly hold her forehead and sigh. "That boy Lin Yu really doesn't know his place. He's definitely getting expelled now." Suddenly, from high above, a sharp black shadow swooped down and landed neatly on the arena floor, kicking up a cloud of dust. As the smoke cleared, Lin Yu slowly stood up with a relaxed air, his coat flapping in the wind, looking just as cool as a war god descending to earth. He leisurely walked up the steps to the arena, without a shred of fear in the face of his enemy's raging aura. But the moment he stepped onto the platform, the keen eyes of someone who had been through life and death detected something abnormal. He frowned and glanced at the floor. The color of the ground near the edge of the arena didn't look quite right. Zhang Yang stood with his hands in his pockets, turning his head to look at his opponent with condescension. "You finally showed your face. I thought you had run away at the last minute." Hearing the mockery, Lin Yu didn't get angry, the corners of his mouth curling into a provocative smirk. "You'd better start thinking about how you're going to kneel and apologize to me later." Stung exactly where it hurt, Zhang Yang snapped. Flames flared intensely as he lunged forward, roaring, "All talk, die." He threw a heavy flame-coated punch straight at Lin Yu's face, the pressure tearing through the air. The punch missed its target by a hair as Lin Yu lightly leaned back to dodge. Zhang Yang grinned nastily. "Dodge, huh? Let's see how long you can hold out." A storm of kicks and punches erupted. Zhang Yang attacked with overwhelming ferocity, while Lin Yu used only one hand to deflect, staying in a calm defensive stance. Seeing his boss holding the upper hand, a lackey below swung his fist and cheered excitedly. "Beat him to a pulp. Brother Yang, show that waste how huge the gap is between you two." Facing the violent power, Lin Yu had to slide his heels toward the edge of the arena to absorb the impact. Seeing this, Zhang Yang became even more smug. He waved his hand to create a gust of wind, pinning Lin Yu into a dead corner and mocked loudly. "Nowhere to run now, are you?" Flames raged. Zhang Yang channeled all his power into his right fist, gathering a giant fireball and preparing to unleash the finishing blow. Instantly, he dove down like a meteor, smashing the flaming punch into Lin Yu, roaring ruthlessly. "This punch will kick your ass out of school." Instead of panicking, Lin Yu looked up and gave a chilling, terrifying smile, his eyes shining with confidence. "This is the moment I've been waiting for." The destructive punch landed but passed straight through Lin Yu's body as if hitting an illusion. Zhang Yang lost his balance and stumbled forward, his eyes bulging in shock. "What?" The stands exploded. Lam Han's jaw dropped in disbelief. He disappeared. What kind of ability is this? A male student next to her pulled at his hair. No way Lin Yu was actually hiding a move like this. Standing rooted to the middle of the arena, Zhang Yang gritted his teeth, veins bulging on his forehead. He growled in frustration. "Do you think you can win with these cheap, petty tricks?" Unable to find his target, he channeled his internal energy to create a storm that swept through everything, screaming madly, "Get out here." But before he could finish, a sharp, bone-chilling pain tore through his shoulder. Zhang Yang hissed in agony. Ard. Clutching his shoulder, which was bleeding from an invisible slash, he glared around the empty arena, his killing intent skyrocketing. You bastard, I'll kill you. Knowing he couldn't play fair against someone who could turn invisible, Zhang Yang cowardly signaled his lackeys below. Activate the traps, flush him out, the lackey replied smugly. Understood, boss. Instantly, giant blue high-voltage electric nets rose up from under the arena, completely sealing off the combat area. At the same time, the flamethrower system under the floor was activated, creating massive walls of fire that raged and burned everything. Standing safely amidst the sea of fire, Zhang Yang spread his arms arrogantly, laughing like a maniac. Let's see where you can run now. Seeing the blatant cheating, the female teacher jumped up, slammed her desk, and shouted angrily, "Stop! That's a violation of the duel rules." Hearing the warning, Zhang Yang glanced at the stands with the evil smile of a powerful bully. He stated bluntly, "I am the law here." But he didn't know that right behind him, amidst the raging sea of fire, a familiar figure was slowly emerging from the void. Lin Yu extended his sharp claws, closing in on his prey. Sensing the freezing killing intent behind his neck, Zhang Yang snapped his head around, his face twisted into an insane, bloodthirsty smile, roaring like a beast. Found you. Without a word, Lin Yu stomped hard enough to crack the tiles, using the recoil to spring away and dodge the enemy's attack. As he retreated, he silently assessed the situation. If I compare physical strength with him, I have no chance of winning. I must find a weakness and land one finishing blow if I want to turn this around. Not letting his opponent think, Zhang Yang lunged forward like a mad bull covered in dazzling blue energy armor. Lin Yu's eyes sharpened like razors as he analyzed. Energy is circulating throughout his body all at once. Does this armor cover his whole body? I have to find the source to cut off the energy flow. While Zhang Yang was busy grinning confidently, the blue energy continued to swirl brilliantly around him. Just waiting for that, Lin Yu's keen eyes instantly locked onto the brightest glowing spot on his opponent's abdomen. He whispered triumphantly, "It's in his dantian." Instantly, Zhang Yang swung a powerful wind-tearing punch into the floor, but Lin Yu nimbly dodged, leaving only a faint, blurry shadow behind. Punching into thin air, Zhang Yang widened his eyes in surprise, his mind screaming. He disappeared again. Feeling teased, the arrogant young man stood in the middle of the arena and yelled, "Trash is always trash. Is that all you can do using these cowardly little tricks?" Responding to the provocation, Lin Yu suddenly appeared and swung his sharp, dark claws hard at Zhang Yang. But the moment the claws touched the armor, the blue energy slid off without leaving a scratch. Seeing his strike neutralized, Lin Yu frowned in surprise, thinking, "My claws can't actually pierce it." Zhang Yang smirked smugly, his face looking incredibly punchable. "This is a grade defense. Save your dreams of scratching me for your next life." Undeterred by the noise, Lin Yu retreated to keep distance, silently calculating. "It seems I need to find another breakthrough point. I want to see how hard your turtle shell really is." He clenched his fist, his resolve firm as he devised a new tactic. "The fact that I left a scratch proves this armor isn't invincible. If claws are useless, I'll use the blunt impact force of military martial arts to break it." Lin Yu took a deep breath to regain his composure, telling himself to stay calm and observe. He was certain he'd find a flaw on this piece of trash. Action followed thought. He leaped into the air, pouring all his power into his right arm, which was radiating a brilliant blue glow, preparing to strike. Lin Yu dove like a bomb, punching straight into Zhang Yang's energy armor, creating a shockwave that rattled the entire arena. Despite taking the punch full-on, Zhang Yang stood like a rock, sneering, "Is that it? You punch like you haven't eaten a meal." Without wasting a second, Zhang Yang immediately unleashed a powerful kick, sweeping horizontally across his opponent's face. Sensing something abnormal from the energy flow, Zhang Yang squinted slightly, thinking there was an energy fluctuation. Very quickly, Zhang Yang's face turned crafty. He smirked triumphantly, "Found your weakness." Ignoring his opponent's attitude, Lin Yu stubbornly lunged forward, pouring power into another lightning-fast punch aimed straight at the target. But Zhang Yang used his energy-armored arm to block the attack easily and then pressed the assault. "I told you this is a grade defense. No matter how you hit, it's useless." Pushed backward, Lin Yu quickly braced himself to regain balance, his eyes burning with resolve as he whispered, "One more time." He poured all his power into another massive punch on the exact same spot on Zhang Yang's turtle shell. This time, cracks were visible, making Lin Yu happy. He thought excitedly, "It's cracking just a little more." But at the moment success seemed close, Zhang Yang still wore an evil smile, showing no signs of panic before the next attack. Like lightning, he reached out and grabbed Lin Yu's wrist, crushing the faint hope that had just begun to sprout. Zhang Yang looked at his opponent with the eyes of a superior, triumphantly blurting out, "Your petty tricks are useless now, go to hell." Even though he was pinned by his shirt, Lin Yu's eyes flashed with a brilliant, tenacious blue light. He gritted his teeth, thinking, As long as I can endure this hit, just as the military martial arts predicted. Before he could finish his thought, Zhang Yang heartlessly swung a heavy punch straight into Lin Yu's face, making his head spin. But taking a punch wasn't the end. The blood trickling from Lin Yu's lip curved into a smile, his eyes widening with killing intent as he roared, "This is it." Using the moment his opponent was most confident and his guard was down, Lin Yu immediately swung his arm, unleashing a desperate counterattack with black energy, striking straight at the weakness on Zhang Yang's chest. Taking the unexpected counterhit, Zhang Yang stumbled backward. His arrogant blue energy armor began to crack and flicker unnaturally. Still trying to save face, Zhang Yang clutched his chest, glared, and scolded bitterly. Only knowing how to rely on invisibility and petty sneak attacks. No wonder your vitality is stuck at 0.68. Cowards like you will never be worthy of being warriors. At this moment, dark energy exploded, covering Lin Yu's entire body. He stood up slowly, stepping toward his opponent with an extremely cool demeanor before calmly declaring, "Fine, I won't bother using invisibility or sneak attacks on you anymore." Transforming his arm into a sharp, demonic claw, Lin Yu gritted out his judgment. "We'll settle this debt with one single move." Hearing this, Zhang Yang went back to his old habits, smirking sarcastically. "Did I punch you, stupid? Those pathetic claws of yours couldn't even scratch my armor earlier. Did your goldfish brain forget?" Not bothering to bicker with a loudmouth, Lin Yu lunged forward like a cyclone, coldly retorting, "How would I know if I don't try one more time?" Seeing his prey deliver himself, Zhang Yang channeled all his power into his leg to unleash a master kick, yelling confidently, "This final kick will officially kick your ass out of school." Both of them leaped into the air simultaneously. Lin Yu's eyes were as sharp as an eagle's, locking onto the opponent, judging silently. This bastard put all his fatal power into that last kick. Good thing military martial arts helped me predict his move beforehand. Not missing the huge opening exposed on the enemy, Lin Yu plunged his claws ruthlessly through Zhang Yang's dantian, crushing the defense as he mocked. "Do you really think I'm blind enough not to read your movements?" With the fatal weakness struck, Zhang Yang's face turned as pale as a corpse, sweat pouring out, his eyes bulging in shock as he stammered, "You." The energy supply in his dantian cut off completely, and Zhang Yang's prized A-grade armor began to show countless cracks spreading across his body. Finally, the brilliant turtle shell couldn't take the heat and shattered, creating a dazzling explosion of light, followed by the boy's miserable screams echoing throughout the arena. But reality slapped him hard. Just a moment later, Zhang Yang had to drop to his knees, clutching his chest and gasping for air, his expression in absolute terror. "Number impossible. How could I lose to a piece of trash like you?" Standing tall and imposing with his arms now completely transformed into sharp demonic forms, Lin Yu looked down on the defeated opponent and coldly delivered the final blow. "You're nothing special either." Sweat poured off him like rain. Zhang Yang looked up at his opponent in absolute helplessness and terror, only able to tremble one word, "You." Not letting the enemy chatter anymore, Lin Yu delivered a fatal blow, pressing Zhang Yang flat against the cracked floor, officially closing the match with a crushing victory. The entire stands erupted. A male student rubbed his eyes repeatedly, unable to believe it. "Am I seeing things? Is this really that piece of trash with 0.68 vitality?" The person next to him cheered happily. "Damn, brother, you is the best." Meanwhile, the lackey could only stare blankly and mutter, "Brother Yang lost." Above, Lam Han clasped her hands together, her sparkling eyes happy, and a radiant smile of relief broke across her face. "Lin Yu, I knew you would definitely win." In complete contrast to the joyous atmosphere in the VIP row, the director of Qing Teng Academy, who also happened to be Zhang Yang's father, Zhang Jianguo, had a face as gray as ash, scolding silently. "How shameful. How could my son lose to someone everyone knows is a piece of trash?" The Dean of Academic Affairs, Li Minwu, was sweating buckets, confusedly explaining to the chairman, "Chairman, this is my responsibility. The moves that kid used weren't taught by the academy. Furthermore, his body underwent some kind of strange physical transformation. I really don't know what kind of dark magic he is using. Sir, I will investigate this thoroughly during next week's physical exam and give you a satisfactory explanation." Hearing this, Chairman Zhang snorted coldly, his face full of killing intent, turning a personal vendetta into official business. "Very well. If anyone dares to break the school rules, they must pay a heavy price." Seeing his big boss fuming, Li Minwu hurriedly fawned to calm him. "Don't worry, Chairman Zhang, I will definitely bring you a satisfying result." Looking down at the messy arena, Zhang stroked his chin and thought, harboring a massive grudge. "You little brat, only you are to blame for being too stupid. There are people in this world that you are never qualified to offend." As for Lin Yu, after shining brilliantly and making that piece of trash taste pain, he calmly left the competition area. But suddenly his phone vibrated violently, startling him. Opening the screen to check, it was a new instruction from his boss. Team leader Tran messaged, "From today on, you will work part-time at cremation plant number 1. That place specializes in processing high-risk beast bodies and human corpses, so prepare your mind and be extremely careful. He scratched his head and muttered, "Is that a message from Team Leader Tran?" But contrary to his superior's worry, Lin Yu's eyes lit up as if he'd found a gold mine. That's the highest-level cremation plant. Not only is the pay better, but I'll have the opportunity to come into contact with stronger souls and capture countless high-end skills. Although he was desperate to go grind, he decided to put work aside for now, pocketed his phone and turned on his heel. Still plenty of time, I'll go to the hospital to visit my sister first. Before long, he stood in front of the massive high-rise building with a shimmering sign, City Central Hospital. Entering the tightly sealed room, Lin Yu stood feeling heartbroken in front of a giant cylindrical glass life support chamber, where his sister was deep in sleep. Inside the clear, bubbling blue water, her body was wrapped in stark white bandages from head to toe, maintaining a faint life through oxygen tubes inserted into her body. Placing his hand gently against the cold glass, Lin Yu's sharp eyes softened immediately, filled with love. "Sister, I'm here to visit you." Looking at his sister lying there, childhood memories flooded back. Back then, he was just a weak boy, often surrounded by neighborhood kids pointing and mocking. With that pathetic vitality level, he's worse than a dog. He's definitely going to be a piece of trash in the future. The fat kid next to him added, "My dad said kids like you have no future." But every time that happened, his sister would turn into a fiery tigress, lunging out to chase the bullies away to protect her brother. "How dare you bully my brother? Let's see if I don't beat you into a pulp," making the kids run for their lives in terror. "Run, guys, the tigress is here." Standing with her hands on her hips to show authority at the window, his feisty sister didn't forget to warn the kids, "If you dare talk bad about my brother again, I will absolutely not forgive you." While her shy younger brother could only hold onto the hem of her shirt and persuade, "Sister, don't be angry anymore." Turning to look at her weak younger brother, she immediately changed her attitude, wearing a radiant and warm smile. "Zio, you don't listen to them. No matter what happens, you are always the best person." The memory faded. Back in the present, Lin Yu's eyes burned with ironclad resolve. He silently swore to himself, "Sister, since I was small, you've always stood up to protect me. This time, no matter what price I have to pay, I must find a way to cure your illness." Just as he was deep in moving thoughts, a familiar voice rang out from behind, cutting him off. "Lin Yu, we need to talk about your sister's medical condition," making him turn his head with curiosity. Seeing the attending doctor in his white coat approaching, Lin Yu politely turned to reply, "Doctor, please go ahead." The young doctor sighed, speaking in an even tone. "As you know, the reason your sister fell ill was from eating heavily contaminated food. Currently, this life support chamber can only maintain her basic survival metrics." Looking into the glass chamber, the doctor's face showed gravity, reporting thunderous news. Recently, the contamination inside her has evolved and worsened significantly, starting to invade her internal organs. If this trend continues, your sister will only survive at most half a year longer. Hearing the bad news, Lin Yu's pupils contracted. He panicked and shouted, "Half a year? Her condition has always been well controlled by medication. Why would it suddenly take a turn for the worse?" The doctor helplessly explained the harsh reality. "According to our analysis, she has used the medication for too long, so it is highly likely that her body has developed antibodies and immunity to the drug." Losing his composure, Lin Yu lunged forward, questioning aggressively as if to grasp the last ray of hope. "Is there really no other way? As long as my sister can be saved, I'm willing to try any method." Seeing the family member of the patient too agitated, the doctor lowered his voice and hesitated. "Actually, there is still one way, but considering the current situation, it's not very feasible." Not letting him be vague, he barked, "Doctor, say it quickly." The doctor spoke straight about the legendary item. "If we can obtain a sunstone, a gemstone capable of suppressing contamination, we could stop your sister's condition from worsening. But the problem is, the sunstone is a national treasure. It's not easy to request to have it taken out." Shattering the faint hope, the doctor shook his head and added, "Even before, when your sister, a top genius highly valued by the state, fell into a coma, the government never brought that item out to use. So with her broken and dying condition now, they definitely won't waste a national treasure." Hearing this, Lin Yu's face darkened with bitterness and mockery. "With my sister's peerless aptitude, it's not an exaggeration to say she could easily dominate an entire generation. So why didn't the government step in to treat her back then? This is absurd." Clenching his fist until it bled, his eyes narrowed, flashing with firm killing intent. "Whatever the reason, even if I have to take the sunstone or use some other way, I will absolutely never give up." The setting sun reddened a corner of the sky. Lin Yu carried his burning resolve to check in at the gate of cremation plant number 1, his promising new workplace. Striding hurriedly through the quiet, cold hallway, he stopped in front of a closed rolling door marked room number 3. After sneaking in and changing into his cool, specialized protective gear, Lin Yu began to sketch out a survival plan in his head. Since the Sunstone is in the hands of the government, I am forced to grind levels to increase my strength and become an official warrior as soon as possible. Stepping into the cold room, his eyes were met with a series of bodies placed neatly on tables. He frowned in suspicion. Is the situation on the front lines that intense right now? There isn't a single beast corpse here, it's all human bodies, even including medical personnel. Although he was desperate to collect skills, he still maintained ethical rules, standing with his hands folded solemnly before three metal gurneys, murmuring, "Seniors, no offense, please forgive me." But before the incense in his heart could burn out, horror began. One of the corpses suddenly bolted up, and black energy billowed out, filling the entire room. The corpse snapped its head around, eyes glowing red like car headlights, baring jagged, sharp teeth as it lunged off the gurney like a crazed beast. The reflexes of someone who had spent a decade fighting kicked in. Lin Yu immediately stepped back, coat fluttering, retreating to a defensive stance full of alertness. Looking at the sinewy, dark monster in front of him, his face changed in shock as he blurted out, "This is a mutated corpse." Not letting him stand still for too long, the monster growled savagely, channeling power into its black energy-covered claws, lunging straight at Lin Yu in an attempt to tear him into 100 pieces. Facing a life-or-death situation, instead of running away in fear, he slid into a combat defensive stance. His arms transformed and unleashed a sweeping strike. The moment the thought finished, the mutated corpse swung its dark energy claws in a frenzy. Lin Yu hurriedly leaned back to dodge the scythe of death. While dodging, the young man widened his eyes in surprise. This soldier has actually turned into a resurrected corpse. The corpse hunched over and growled savagely, its eyes glowing red like headlights, and the rolling black energy exuded absolute bloodlust. Looking at the heartbreaking scene before him, Lin Yu gritted his teeth as he realized the harsh truth. The frontline warrior has been contaminated. A surge of bitterness mixed with respect rose within him. This was clearly a warrior who had sacrificed himself for the country, a hero who had fought on the front lines until his very last breath. But time did not allow him to stay sentimental for long. The mindless corpse lunged forward again, forcing Lin Yu to pivot into a defensive stance, ready to engage in battle once more. Two surges of black energy collided with a jarring crash, as Lin Yu spread his arms to fully block the massive man's bone-crushing punch. While exerting himself to hold his ground, his brain was firing off analytical thoughts with precision. It's military combat arts. These polluted individuals have absolutely no consciousness left. He is merely moving based on muscle memory now. Grasping the pattern, a spark of confidence flickered in his eyes. Fixed martial arts patterns mean fixed weak points. The next move will most likely be a straight right-handed punch. When that happens, his body will lunge forward, making his stance completely unstable. Just as our human calculator predicted, the mutated corpse poured its strength into a leap, descending with a thunderous, lightning-fast blow from above. Waiting for exactly that, Lin Yu nimbly slipped to the side like a gust of wind, cleanly dodging his opponent's head-first slam into the ground. Seizing the golden opportunity, he whirled around and delivered a powerful, well-placed kick squarely into the monster's hip. Pressing his advantage, Lin Yu lunged forward to close the distance, shouting, "This is it." Gathering every ounce of his power into his elbow, he gifted his senior a fatal blow that tore through the air itself. Taking the heaven-shaking strike head-on, the corpse was sent flying like a kite with a broken string, crashing into the floor and carving out a deep crater amidst a cloud of swirling dust. Standing there watching the fallen hero, Lin Yu withdrew his hand, his gaze sinking with deep regret as he whispered, "Please forgive this junior." But the show was far from over. Before a smile could even form, the corpse in the crater suddenly convulsed and staggered back up onto its feet. Not only did it revive for a second time, but its body also began to bloat, muscles bulging until his clothes burst apart, and the rampant black energy flared up many times more violently than before. Witnessing this abysmal transformation, Lin Yu broke into a cold sweat and backed away a few paces, dazed and exclaiming, "What the hell is this?" As the dust settled, the venerable senior had completely transformed into a giant gray monster with razor-sharp fangs and long, wicked claws ready to tear anything to shreds. Jaw dropped in disbelief, the young man couldn't trust his own eyes. He completely turned into a monster. Before he could regain his composure, the monster lunged at extreme speed, delivering a violent punch that forced Lin Yu to struggle as he crossed his arms to block the blow. The attack force was terrifying, forcing him to slide back a long distance across the floor. Lin Yu grimaced in assessment. His strength and speed are completely different from just a moment ago. Having seized the upper hand, the giant beast continued to pounce like a collapsing mountain, swinging its dark claws in a frantic, relentless assault. Seeing that the situation was wound tight like a guitar string, Lin Yu chose the path of retreat as the best strategy, continuously sidestepping and dodging the lethal slams. Missing its marks repeatedly, the monster grew furious. opening its wide mouth full of jagged fangs and letting out a piercing roar that shook the entire room. It snapped its jaws frantically, forcing Lin Yu to struggle and contort his body in an endless series of dodges. Cornered, he had no choice but to push off the ground with all his might, leaping backward. But immediately after that, he had to kick at the monster. The heaven-shaking collision triggered a massive blast. As the smoke cleared, Lin Yu wiped his mouth, his eyes turning cold and serious as he analyzed the situation. Not only his appearance, but even his attack patterns have completely shifted into those of a monster. In the moment of crisis, a vision of the warrior's heroic past suddenly surfaced. He held his weapon and rushed to the front line, shouting, "Destroy the monsters, protect our home, and defend our motherland." Lin Yu's gaze dropped with reverence and he muttered, "I have seen with my own eyes what a true warrior should look like." Looking at the monster roaring crazily while its black energy surged threateningly, he sighed and admitted, "The reason I haven't used my full strength is that deep down, I still consider him a warrior." But now, clenching his fist, the black energy spread, covering half of Lin Yu's face like a lethal mask. "I know becoming a monster wasn't your intention, senior." His eyes blazed with firm golden light as Lin Yu growled with determination. "I will help you, senior." Without wasting another second, the giant monster swung its black energy-covered claws, lunging forward with suffocating pressure. Utilizing his speed to the max, Lin Yu slid across the ground in a stylized motion, slipping straight into his opponent's blind spot and locking onto the target. The weak point is the heart. With a loud thwack, Lin Yu's hand, transformed into its dark state, swung up, delivering a fatal wind-tearing blow straight into the monster's chest. Slipping past each other by a hair's breadth, Lin Yu tilted his head slightly, leaving behind a silent farewell. "Rest in peace." The powerful punch completely pierced through the hard muscles, embedding itself deep into the mutated creature's evil heart. From the fatal hole in its chest, black energy began to hiss out uncontrollably, signaling that the monster's life had reached its end. The giant corpse collapsed onto the floor with a loud thud. Immediately, the familiar system board popped up to announce the good news. "Congratulations, host. Military Combat Arts have been upgraded to Intermediate Military Combat Arts Level 3. Turning back to look at the body that was slowly cooling down, Lin Yu let out a humble sigh. "If you still had human consciousness, I definitely wouldn't have been your match." But before he could even offer a final prayer, boom, the jet black energy from the corpse suddenly hissed out in a torrential downpour, shooting straight toward the sky. The corpse began discharging toxic gas just like a leaking factory chimney, pouring out thick, billowing masses of black energy that swarmed the entire room. Clamping his nose and mouth shut, Lin Yu backed away, his face turning pale with horror. Crap, it's pollution gas. He scrambled toward the door, pounding the control panel repeatedly, but the door wouldn't budge. He cursed, "Damn it, this door can only open if there's confirmation from both the inside and outside simultaneously." Watching the wall of pitch-black gas rushing toward him, Lin Yu broke into a cold sweat, recalling the deadly truth. Once a human is polluted, it is irreversible. His eyes shrank in confusion and he whispered to himself, "If I stay here, I'll be infected and turn into a monster too." Before long, the black energy had gathered into a massive vortex, surrounding the unlucky young man, leaving not a single gap for escape. Out of options, Lin Yu crossed his arms to protect his face, gritting his teeth to hold out. "I cannot let myself get polluted." Suddenly, at the center of the storm, Lin Yu's eyes blinked as he noticed something wasn't right. He slowly lowered his hands, stroked his chest, and asked in bewilderment, "Wait, why am I not being polluted?" Startled, he turned his head to the side and discovered a surreal phenomenon. The entire stream of black pollution gas wasn't attacking him, but was instead slithering toward another anonymous corpse lying motionless on the operating table. Thinking of the prospect of fighting a boss for a second round, Lin Yu immediately assumed a defensive stance, cold sweat dripping down. "Please don't tell me this guy is about to turn into a resurrected corpse too." Waiting for a long time without seeing the monster jump up, Lin Yu cautiously crept toward the operating table, examining the corpse in the white lab coat with an extremely wary expression. With the curiosity of a kindergartner, Lin Yu poked the corpse's shoulder a few times and muttered, "No reaction." Looking closer, he finally spotted the key. All the black energy was being sucked dry into an object radiating a brilliant rainbow light resting on the corpse's chest. It was a pendant. "It can swallow pollution energy." Lin Yu's eyes lit up like he'd just hit the lottery, and he exclaimed in surprise. The words of the young doctor at the hospital echoed in Lin Yu's ears. "As you know, the reason your sister fell ill was because she accidentally ate polluted food. Currently, this life support chamber can only maintain her basic survival stats. If we could get a sunlight stone to suppress the pollution, we could stop your sister's condition from worsening. But unfortunately, the sunlight stone is a national-level treasure. People would never just bring it out to lend it to someone. Staring intensely at the pendant, crazily absorbing the evil black energy, Lin Yu's eyes bulged, wondering, could this thing actually be the legendary sunlight stone? The pendant rested snugly in his palm, emitting a radiant, blinding glow, shimmering with 7 rainbow colors like a priceless treasure fallen to earth. A bright smile bloomed on Lin Yu's face, wiping away every trace of sorrow and anxiety. He was so happy he wanted to shout, "My sister is saved." Without wasting another second, the young man ran for his life out of the cold storage room, darting like a wind-tearing arrow. Before leaving the incinerator, he didn't forget to glance back through the fiery glass pane, bowing respectfully to bid farewell to the anonymous body. "Senior, thank you very much. Please forgive this junior for the offense." Inside the furnace, the doctor's body was slowly sinking into the raging sea of fire, freeing him from the torment of the evil pollution gas. Escaping the dangerous area, Lin Yu nimbly jumped out of the ventilation shaft, his movements agile as he drifted through the quiet night like a ghost. Suddenly, right in midair, the thin wisps of black energy remaining from the body earlier snaked through the air and dove straight into Lin Yu's forehead, making him jump in surprise. Immediately, a segment of strange memories flooded into his mind, sketching the image of a young man excitedly receiving his acceptance letter. "Yang Junlong, you have been accepted into the Huaxia Central Medical University. I did it." The memory continued to shift to a lab where Yang Junlong was diligently researching with surging determination. "The drugs currently on the market are too weak. I want to develop more effective drugs for our warriors." Time passed and the old dean patted his shoulder with pride and expectation. "Junlong, you are my final disciple. One day you will inherit my legacy and become the dean." The student replied respectfully, "Yes, master." But leaving behind a bright future, he slung his medical pack over his shoulder and ran headlong into the smoky battlefield, silently apologizing. "I'm sorry, master, but the front lines need me more. I need to develop medicine that is truly useful based on what the warriors are facing out there." Amidst the life and death siege, a soldier turned and asked desperately, "Dr. Yang, we're surrounded by mutated beasts. Do you have any medicine to help us fight to the last breath?" He replied calmly, "I've developed a new drug called Night Watch. No matter how bad your condition is, drinking this will help you regain your peak form." The image froze. Dr. Yang's face grew heavy and painful as he had to speak the cruel truth. However, the medical kit opened to reveal vials emitting a shimmering green light, accompanied by a bone-chilling warning. The side effect is that the user will die immediately after 10 minutes. Without a moment's hesitation, the soldiers picked up the vials and downed them in one gulp, heroically declaring, "We children of Huaxia do not fear death. If the monsters can revive, then we have Night Watch." Another shouted loudly, "I am ready to trade those 10 minutes to protect the peace of Huaxia." After drinking the fated medicine, the backs of the brave heroes charged straight into the swarm of beasts, thick as ants, deciding to die to ensure the motherland would live. The memory brought Lin Yu back to the image of Dr. Yang, drenched in sweat, frantically writing at his desk. Based on everyone's reaction to that drug, perhaps it can be further optimized. In that chaotic mess of theories, a crazy and taboo idea suddenly flashed, accompanied by the image of a dark claw-piercing space, named Vampire Succubus. As the memory ended, Lin Yu stared into empty air, surprised and exclaiming, "Vampire Succubus, just one sip can inject a massive amount of life force into the body." The next second, the green system board popped up, offering a choice. "Host, please select one of the following abilities to cultivate, including 3 options: A. Pharmacology Mastery, B. Broken Brush Pen, C. Healer's Heart." Without thinking twice, Lin Yu raised his hand and pressed straight on option. Immediately, black energy swirled around him like a dance. The system cheered, "Congratulations, host, you have received the passive skill Pharmacology Mastery, Expert Level. Included is the learning promotion providing 3 formulas: Rising Dragon, Night Watch, and Vampire Succubus." Overjoyed as if he'd found gold, Lin Yu sat cross-legged to absorb the knowledge, silently affirming, "With this pendant and the knowledge of pharmacology I just received, I can definitely save her." The next morning, the clear blue sky with white clouds dispelled the gloomy night. The scene shifted to the central hospital building, standing tall under the morning sun. Inside the hospital room, the poor girl was still lying motionless in the transparent life support chamber, with an electronic board ruthlessly displaying the text, "Pollution level 75%. Standing before the glass, Lin Yu pulled his hoodie up to hide his identity, his face clearly showing anxiety and tension. "Pollution level has reached 75%. The sound of bubbles rising steadily in the liquid chamber evoked the fragility of a life counting down its days. Unable to wait any longer, he carefully withdrew all the serum from inside. Clenching the radiant stone in his hand, Lin Yu's gaze sharpened with determination. There was no more time to waste. With a swift, clean motion, the pendant was placed neatly around his sister's neck, flickering with miraculous light. He stared intently at the electronic board as it ticked to 656, but the pollution level remained stubbornly at 75%. Lin Yu tried to reassure himself. Stay calm, perhaps it needs a little time to take effect. Time ticked away agonizingly, the clock striking 7:10, then 7:20, and then 7:30. But that wretched 75% figure remained unmoved by even a fraction. Frustration etched itself onto the young man's face. He grimaced and muttered in desperation. The pollution level still hasn't decreased. Could it be that this stone has no effect either? Lin Yu slumped in helplessness before the giant life support machine, feeling as if the whole world were collapsing before his eyes. Pressing his hand against the icy glass, he bitterly speculated. Is it because the pendant's effect is too slow, or has the pollution in her body eaten so deep that the stone can no longer purify it? But then the sadness vanished, replaced by the sharp gaze of someone who never knew how to bow. No matter what, I must find a way to concoct the vampire succubus drug as soon as possible. The scene shifted to Qingtang Academy, which was always bustling, regardless of the storms in the students' lives. Amidst that prosperous place, the young man Lin Yu chose a quiet spot right by the window for himself. He rubbed his chin and calculated. The top priority now is to check if the drug formulas are feasible. But the trouble is that Night Watch has too many side effects, so it definitely has to be scrapped from the list. Flipping through the documents, the young man grimaced as he assessed the situation. The ingredients for vampire succubus were all deep in heavily polluted disaster zones. Meanwhile, the Rising Dragon formula was relatively simple, but the pharmacy had a sold-out sign for the deep crimson crystal grass. Thinking of this, he sighed deeply because the polluted areas that had this grass were heavily guarded by the military. With this nobody student identity, there's absolutely no way I can get in. Just as his brain was running at full capacity, a clear voice rang out, pulling him back to reality. Lin Yu, why have you been so distracted these past few days? It turned out to be the pink-haired beauty Lin Han, who was leaning her hands on his table, stretching forward with a sweet, tempting smile. There's a new cafe that just opened near the school bus station. After school, do you want to go take a look and chat? Seeing the beauty take the initiative to ask him out, our protagonist doused her with a merciless bucket of cold water. I have plans tonight, so I can't go. Rejected point blank, she still didn't lose heart, kindly advising him, if you encounter any difficulties, tell me anytime. I'll definitely try my best to help you. Her cheeks slightly flushed, Lin Han blinked, shyly admitting, anyway, you saved me before, I want to repay that favor. The atmosphere was just getting exciting when it was interrupted by the noisy gossip of the male students at the table in front. Hey, I heard that last night someone saw military vehicles heading toward our school, causing another to panic and chime in. So sudden, is something big about to happen? Eavesdropping on the intelligence, Lin Yu's gaze immediately became sharp. He silently analyzed that the military didn't usually appear in residential areas. Was there some new development? Catching Lin Yu's curious gaze, Lin Han clicked her tongue with a knowing look. I guess this couldn't be kept a secret for long anyway. The boy leaned over to ask quietly, just like a black market arms dealer. What? You have inside information. Looking left and right, she gathered her courage to leak the secret to her crush. In a tiny voice, Lin Han revealed, last night, my father's patrol squad was called in to help the military strengthen security. Before Lin Yu could digest that, she added another shocking piece of news. The abandoned urban area north of the school, right near the border, is very likely to be officially designated as a polluted zone. This made him startle and stare in disbelief. Lin Yu wondered, wasn't it just a restricted area before, why all of a sudden? Then Lin Han quickly explained. The rumor is that a crystal-armored python has been discovered nesting there. The pollution concentration soared beyond control overnight. The keyword landed in his ears, and Lin Yu's eyes lit up like he'd found gold. A crystal-armored python. The computer in his head immediately started crunching numbers, remembering that deep crimson crystal grass grew in land polluted by the python's venom. That is exactly the ingredient I need to concoct the Rising Dragon drug. Seeing the look of excitement on her friend's face, Lin Han hurriedly grabbed his shirt to warn him seriously. Lin Yu, this matter must be kept secret for now. You absolutely cannot tell anyone. Our protagonist nodded instantly, putting on the most reliable face possible to reassure the beauty. I know, don't worry. Even though he promised everything with his mouth, inside his head, he was drawing up a crazy infiltration plan. I have to go tonight before that area is completely locked down. No sooner said than done. That very night at the Forbidden Border area, the military's bright floodlights were sweeping continuously over the barbed wire fence, creating an incredibly sturdy defensive wall. Hiding deep in a dense, dew-covered thicket, Lin Yu held his breath, watching the armed patrol squad moving slowly past his line of sight. With the keen eye of a pro, he quickly unmasked the security system's pattern. The floodlights leave an overlapping blind spot that lasts 0.5 seconds every 14 seconds. The patrol squad completes a round every half hour. The golden opportunity arrived, and Lin Yu channeled his energy to activate his stealth camouflage mode, turning himself into a ghost that tore through the night. Seizing the short 0.5-second gap, the young man ran for his life across the open ground under the faint floodlights. Thanks to his wind-tearing speed, Lin Yu performed a stylized parkour jump, flying over the barbed wire fence without leaving a single trace. The exact moment he landed, a guard suddenly turned his head in suspicion. The guard narrowed his eyes, staring intently at the empty air under the bright floodlight, but saw absolutely no one. Seeing his comrade spaced out, the soldier with him asked in confusion, "What's wrong?" Then the other guard just scratched his head, trying to deceive himself. "Nothing. I must be too stressed. I just felt like someone was right behind me." Waiting for the patrol squad to disappear, Lin Yu landed softly without a sound like a stray cat, smiling triumphantly and thinking, "Infiltration successful." He began to blend into the night, carefully striding through the desolate ruins of a forgotten urban area under the cold moonlight. Hiding behind a broken glass door frame, his sharp eyes flashed. Over there. Amidst the rubble, hitting his eyes, was a giant crystal-armored python curled up in a deep sleep. And shining brightly right next to its massive tail were the bushes of deep crimson crystal grass. Creeping closer, the protagonist sweated and told himself, "I have to pick it really fast while this monster is still fast asleep." The distance narrowed, and he risked his life to get so close he could feel the cold radiating from the monster's green scales to approach the grass. Reaching his hand out to harvest the spoils, Lin Yu smirked triumphantly. Perfect. But life isn't a dream. The moment his hand reached out, the giant python suddenly stirred, its sharp, blood-red eyes opening wide to stare straight at the intruder. Locked by that deadly gaze, Lin Yu's pupils contracted and goosebumps broke out all over him. Something is wrong. Without a second's hesitation, his brain automatically activated his military combat skills to predict the attack, helping him leap out of the way of the monster's earth-shaking strike. The crystal python was furious at having its sleep interrupted. It reared its giant neck, opening its wide mouth full of jagged fangs to roar in intimidation. However, even while risking his life to dodge lethal blows, the eyes of the poor wretch Lin Yu remained determinedly fixed on his only target. With lightning-fast movement, his hand snatched up the precious deep crimson crystal grass. Having snatched the goods, the young man whirled around and ran for his life while the monster lunged crazily to tear him apart from behind. Its horrific bite missed the prey, catching only a mouthful of air, causing its teeth to clatter together. Missing its target, the monster suddenly seemed to hesitate, its massive head looking around as if a bit groggy and slow. Taking the opportunity to hide temporarily behind a large boulder, Lin Yu frowned as he observed the enemy's abnormality. The computer in his head kept crunching numbers. Its reaction speed is slower than I anticipated. This isn't normal at all. Looking closely at the dull-colored and slightly peeling scales on the python's head, a spark flashed through his mind. Lin Yu slapped his thigh and realized, so it's in the middle of molting. But before he could celebrate the opponent's reduced strength, the python went crazy and lunged, smashing a pile of rubble into pieces, forcing Lin Yu to leap out of the way. While running for his life, the protagonist gritted his teeth and realized his fatal mistake. Even though I used a scent-masking drug, my body heat gave me away. Amidst the storm of dust, the young man gripped the bright red grass tightly, calculating his next move. Running headlong through open ground like this was no different from suicide. Right behind him, the monster's colossal jaws were gaping wide, closing in tight, ready to turn him into a late-night snack. Driven into a corner, Lin Yu made a sharp turn and took a reckless gamble. Doing the opposite is my only chance of survival. Instead of running toward the safety zone to escape, he bolted straight in the direction of the clusters of collapsed high-rise buildings. While running for his life, he darted glances to assess the terrain. This narrow alley will definitely restrict the movements of that giant eel. With a skillful long slide, Lin Yu squeezed through a tight gap between two thick reinforced concrete walls just before being torn to shreds. Standing safely behind the wall, the young man wiped away his sweat and flashed a provocative, deeply annoying smirk. "Nice and easy, I dare you to try and fit in here." And just as scripted, the crystal python's massive head got stuck tight in the gap, leaving it able only to gape its jaws and growl helplessly at the prey lounging right in front of its nose. Facing the rampaging monster, Lin Yu didn't flinch. Instead, he wore a wild, provocative grin. "Come on, let's end this." Enraged by the prey's insolent attitude, the giant python opened its gaping maw filled with sharp fangs and slammed into the narrow opening, aiming to bite the young man's head off. However, exactly as Lin Yu had calculated, its huge head got stuck fast between the two concrete walls, leaving it able only to roar in frustration. Looking at the struggling monster, the protagonist curled his lip in a triumphant sneer and taunted, "I didn't run away because I was afraid of you. I was just looking for an opening to take your life." The crystal python frantically twisted its massive body, attempting to struggle free from the crack, but the more it moved, the tighter it got stuck. Seeing that the chance of a lifetime had arrived, Lin Yu channeled his power, transforming his right arm into a brilliant, flaming claw with roiling black energy. Not wasting a single second, he braced himself and leaped high, shooting toward the trapped monster like an arrow released from a bow. The protagonist's eyes locked onto his target with cold sharpness, gritting his teeth as he channeled all his power. Its scales aren't hard enough yet since it just finished molting. I have to aim straight for the vital point. With a crushing blow from above, Lin Yu's flaming claw plunged straight into the weak spot on the top of the giant python's head. Struck in its vital point, the monster arched its neck in agony, gaping its maw to let out a roar that tore through the night sky. Immediately afterward, it opened its huge mouth wide and lunged to swallow Lin Yu whole. Suddenly, its pupils contracted as a sharp pain began to surge through its body. The very next second, Lin Yu had punched through its mouth and emerged in an incredibly cool pose. He stood up slowly, his demeanor as cold as a professional assassin who had just completed his mission. Gazing at the carcass of the monster lying in the dirt, the young man couldn't hide his pride as he stroked his ego. I actually soloed and killed an armored crystal python. Right at that moment, the familiar system chimed with a notification. Congratulations, host. Basic sharp claw proficiency has reached 95%. Admiring his deformed arm, he rubbed his chin in contemplation. I wonder what kind of effect I'll get once the sharp claw levels up. The scene snapped to the following morning in front of an imposing building bearing the shimmering sign, Dong Tam Duck Pharmacy. Standing outside the shop, Lin Yu mentally calculated. Now that I have the formula, the ingredients, and the technique, I just need an accessible laboratory to brew the ascending dragon potion. But immediately after came the insults of a lab owner. Do you have any idea how expensive lab equipment is? You want to rent it? You're crazy. Frustrated by the repeated rejections, the protagonist clicked his tongue, turned sharply, and burned with resolve. This place is a no-go either. On to the next one. I don't believe I can't find a single place. In the blink of an eye, night fell again, with the crescent moon hanging over the high-rises, casting a hazy light. After walking until his legs were sore and still coming up empty-handed, Lin Yu squatted in a street corner and let out a long sigh. Haha, Senior Yang had his own private laboratory. In his memories, space was never an issue. I'm getting distracted by his previous life. Dragging his feet past street stalls flickering with dim lights, the poor young man wrestled with his own internal monologue. Should I just buy my own equipment? But even the most basic tools cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Amidst his economic headache, Lin Yu's sensitive ears suddenly twitched. He turned his head and muttered, "What's that noise?" Before him was an old-fashioned pharmacy with a large wooden sign reading Han Thien Duong, which left him dumbfounded. Han Thien Duong, that name sounds so familiar. Peering into the empty shop, the young man frowned with curiosity. Is this also a pharmacy? After a second of hesitation, Lin Yu decided to walk in. Might as well try one last time, nothing to lose anyway. Just past the threshold, his eyes were met with the sight of an employee glued to his phone playing a game, shouting directions passionately. Kill it, kill it. Use flash and crit, you idiot, where did it run off to? Watching the guy's work ethic, the protagonist could only be speechless, breaking into a cold sweat as he assessed. He didn't even notice a customer walk in. It's a miracle this shop hasn't gone bankrupt yet. Out of options, Lin Yu slammed his backpack onto the counter to get his attention and got straight to the point. Does your pharmacy have a lab for brewing potions? Startled by the noise, the employee finally looked up from his screen and raised an eyebrow with a cocky attitude. Why are you asking? Without much talk, Lin Yu fanned out a thick stack of cash right in front of him and stated clearly, 1,000. Rent it to me. Before the protagonist could finish, the employee waved his hand as if he were above such greed, acting high and mighty. Who do you think you are? Do you think you can just demand to use it because you have money? Knowing exactly how greedy these types were, Lin Yu pretended to walk away and casually dropped the hammer. 2,000, take it or leave it. The guy hurriedly yelled, wait. Flipping his attitude faster than a pancake, the employee immediately snatched the money, flashing a brilliant, gold-hungry smile. All right, all right. Stuffing the money into his pocket, the guy swung a bunch of keys and led his wealthy customer. Follow me. The employee smirked triumphantly at his own trickery. This kid is only borrowing the lab for a bit. I'll just delete the security footage afterward and nobody will ever know. Bringing his customer to the destination, he immediately turned to lay down the law, raising his hand to set a time limit. 2 hours maximum, you have to be out before then. Still not feeling secure, he added a string of strict rules. And you have to clean up perfectly, putting everything back exactly where it was when you walked in, remember that. Even if you finish early, I'm not giving you a single cent back. Walking down to the spacious basement, the employee didn't forget to bark a warning. Don't break anything or you'll have to pay the full price. But Lin Yu just shooed him away. Got it, go back to your phone. Scanning the room, he nodded in satisfaction. The equipment here is quite complete, more than enough to brew the ascending dragon potion. Truly, you get what you pay for. Grabbing a protective coat, Lin Yu raised an eyebrow at its vibrant color. A magenta protective coat. Looks like the owner of this room is a female pharmacist. Rolling up his sleeves to get to work, he clicked his tongue in worry. That employee clearly snuck me in here. It'll be a huge hassle if the female pharmacist actually returns and kicks me out, so I better make this quick. Standing before the sophisticated machinery, the protagonist immediately started the first step. First, I need to extract and concentrate the ingredients. With careful movements, he gently dropped a precious dark red crystal grass into a specialized grinder. Without further hesitation, Lin Yu decisively pressed the start button to let the machine begin the essence extraction process. A moment later, 3 cups of different colored solutions appeared on the table, steaming and signaling a very smooth initial result. Holding 2 glass stirring rods, Lin Yu concentrated like a true alchemist. Next, I just need to mix them according to the formula's ratio, and that's it. The mixture had just been poured into the pot when it immediately blended, bubbled, and turned a brilliant, eye-dazzling gold. But before he could celebrate, abnormal rolling black energy suddenly erupted from the pot, startling Lin Yu. The very next second, the pot unexpectedly exploded with a loud bang, forcing him to hurriedly raise his hands to shield his face. Peeking out from the thick smoke with a slightly soot-stained face, the young man swallowed nervously. Did I fail again? However, looking down at the shattered pot, he was met with the sight of golden medicinal paste glowing and shimmering like molten gold. Lin Yu's eyes lit up, letting out a sigh of relief. It solidified. Looks like I didn't fail this time. He carefully used a syringe to pump the potion into small glass vials, 50 ml each, just enough to divide into 4 doses. With more blood in his veins than brain cells, the protagonist decided to act as the test subject himself to see the true effect of this ascending dragon potion. I'll test it myself. Having just swallowed a mouthful, his handsome face immediately grimaced like a monkey eating ginger. The taste is absolutely disgusting. But no sooner had he finished complaining than his pupils contracted. Red bloodshot lines appeared in his eyes, signaling the potion's effect had begun. A storm of surging power exploded from within, turning into ribbons of black energy that wrapped around Lin Yu's body, forcing him to clench his muscles to endure it. Standing amidst the blazing energy flames, the young man felt clearly the changes in every single cell. So the main function of the ascending dragon potion wasn't just to provide vitality. Every corner of his body was boiling, Lin Yu realized. It's helping mobilize the entire amount of energy accumulated and undigested within my body to conduct a secondary absorption. Time in the quiet lab ticked away second by second to the rhythm of the desk clock. After a long process of channeling and absorption, the protagonist slowly closed his eyes, enjoying the refreshing sensation spreading throughout his body. When he opened his eyes wide, his physique looked much more muscular and vibrant under his tight-fitting shirt. Lin Yu smirked in assessment. Whoa, just in terms of vitality, the effectiveness of this ascending dragon potion is already 20 times stronger than standard vitality-boosting drugs. Clenching his fist and feeling the surging power, the young man laughed smugly. It even refines the vitality across my entire body, expanding the limits so I can develop even further. He clicked his tongue in admiration. This is truly Senior Yang's life's work, a whole decade of blood, sweat, and tears. If this formula were to leak out, the national strength of Hua Zia would definitely see a huge leap. Zipping his backpack shut, Lin Yu was level-headed as he told himself. But I'm not strong enough yet. Revealing it now would only turn me into a sacrificial pawn, so mass production will have to wait. Just as he was about to leave, his footsteps suddenly faltered, memories flashing. Wait, Han Thien Duong. An image of a brave soldier with a dog tag named Ko Ken Hai appeared in his mind, one of the fallen soldiers he had once cremated. His family is the owner of this Han Thien Duong. Lin Yu began to find it hard to understand. Based on his memory, the sharp-minded younger sister was the one running the place now. So why had this pharmacy become so deserted? His heart sank a beat. The protagonist decided to place a precious vial of the potion on a note. If fate has brought me here. Finishing up, he slung his backpack over his shoulder and ascended the stairs, leaving behind a line full of wanderer flair. Then I should leave behind some good karma to accumulate merit. Returning to the counter, Lin Yu tilted his chin to inform the employee who was still buried in his phone. I've cleaned everything up, I'm off. Hearing that, the employee scrambled to follow, fawningly trying to keep the wealthy customer. Hey brother, leave your number. If you need to use the room again, just contact me directly. Lin Yu turned half his face back, threw a cold glance and replied curtly, sure. The space outside the pharmacy at this moment was a beautiful pink sunset, marking the close of a tumultuous day of work. At the same time, a glamorous beauty stepped out of a luxury car with a weary, bored expression. I've liquidated the rest of the family assets, yet the drug research still failed. Stepping into the shop with a heavy heart, she silently cried inside, Brother, what should I do now? If only you were still here. Seeing this, the employee hurriedly stood up to greet her. Miss, you're back. Before she could lament any further, the lady's eyes fell upon a strange vial placed squarely on the counter, leaving her startled. Picking up the vial and the note, blood rushed to her brain. She gritted her teeth and cursed silently. That idiot Tran, how dare he be so bold as to let a stranger in here? But when she caught sight of the words "New Vitality Potion" written on the paper, her anger subsided slightly, and she clicked her tongue. Never mind, I'll take it to be tested first to see what on earth is going on. 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. The pink-clad beauty suddenly rushed up from the basement like a whirlwind, shouting agitatedly, Tran, who entered my lab today? Causing the employee to turn pale and stammer. Miss, I'm sorry, I swear I will never do it again. Ignoring the apology, she grabbed the lackey by the collar and lifted him up, screaming as if in a jealous rage. Where is he? I need to see him right now, causing the guy to lose his soul and hurry to confess. He left a while ago, but I have his phone number. Forced to call for help, Tran tremblingly held the phone to his ear, but the other end only responded with a cold, soulless voice. The number you have dialed is currently switched off. Seeing this, the lady's eyes ignited with the fire of resolve. She ordered ruthlessly but extremely generously. Keep calling, call until he picks up. If you make contact, I'll give you a bonus of 100,000. While in her heart she was screaming with joy, this is definitely a master, a grandmaster capable of formulating a drug 20 times stronger than anything currently on the market.